Welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis. This is Mike. You're in the shot, all right? Huh?
Is it we're rolling?
Yeah, there's a can. Come on.
Okay, go ahead.
I just went ahead.
Jacob, sound speed, get the mics on.
Sound speed, Jacob, he did the clapping.
You can sit down now. And I'm Jordan. What's up?
Did I even say who I was? Because maybe I could be anyone. I'm Willy Wonka.
It's not the time to be Willy Wonka.
Okay. You know what I did last night? On your recommendation, I saw Madam Web. I have never laughed so much in a movie in my entire life.
Comedy's legal again, folks. Movies, Hollyweird is back.
I genuinely could not believe what I was seeing on the screen.
We're both, I think, casual enjoyers of crap movies as anyone can be, but I think everybody has a certain preference with it. Some people like old B movies made for $100 and they like seeing what a mess they are. Some people like kind of medium budget or something like The Room where the absurdities in what's the story. I really do love watching Sony burn cash and produce an embarrassing product.
It was crazy because I wanted to go to the movie theater and see pretty images and not be challenged in any way. That was the mood that I was in. Mm-hmm. And this delivered in so many more ways than just that.
Yeah, this is like going to McDonald's and finding a diamond ring.
It's like going to McDonald's and being served dinner and a show. And it's the funniest movie you've ever seen. And I got a little popcorn. I used my AMC A-list, not sponsored. We all recited the Nicole Kidman speech. What accent does she have?
She's Australian.
Okay.
But she's not been there
she's
for
holding
so
it in.
long.
Yeah.
That it's very subtle now, I feel like.
Yeah, she was charging it up. She's kind of got a...
because they are.
It's like the equivalent
you
of...
know what I mean? Like it just comes out a tad.
Well, she's doing... It's kind of like a broadcaster voice, you know?
Also, yeah, because when she came... when she joined Hollywood, I'm sure she had to, assimilate a little bit to whatever, was the norm.
If you see her early Australian films, she has a thick Australian accent. Her hair is crazy curly and red. She has red hair.
I bloody want to go to the movies today. Pictures are big. And they're real.
The sands. What is it? What's that one line be?
Heartbreak feels nice. Yeah.
Heartbreak feels nice in a place like this.
Not too bad when you're in a movie.
It all feels real. Movies do because they are here.
I'm the first person in Australia to see a movie. It was too big.
You can get your seats in the front or you can get them out back.
The movie will find you no matter what. You'll hear it.
It's real big and the sounds hurt.
Yeah. Do you love AMC? Me too. Too loud.
Too loud.
That way you think it was worth the price. Okay. Well, yeah, one throw. The script of Man Web is hilarious. But one quick... It's weird to see a terrible script and terrible technical solution. Was your mix also awful?
Okay, my mix, I didn't notice the mix, but I did notice random bouts of ADR that were so funny and important.
The villain literally does not have any on-set audio. It's like Bane.
It was so unnerving. But the first notice of ADR I got was at the very beginning of the movie. And we're going to spoil the hell out of Madam Web because I'm sorry. I have to talk about this.
It will not hamper your enjoyment at all, please.
It won't. So they're in Peru in the forest. Anastasia saw the movie as well.
Yeah.
They're in the forest jungle.
Amazon.
They're in the Amazon.
Not Amazon, but a jungle, right?
Yeah.
They're in the forest jungle spider hunt zone.
Right. Where the spiders are.
With some kind of non-specific militia. There's just two guys from the militia and that never comes up again.
But the
jungle police.
The first thing was, so you don't know why, but Madam Web's mom is pregnant.
Mama Web.
Web. Very pregnant. She's days away from delivery.
Due any day now.
One of two characters in the movie, so pregnant, it's almost scary.
And she she has like a kick, like the baby kicks, and she goes, ow, but it does not come out of her mouth.
It is so.
It was.
What happened?
I don't know.
What happened?
I just feel like you didn't have to, I just don't know what happened.
What was the original thing? She goes, yay, I'm being kicked.
Also, it felt like to me, they weren't filming in a real jungle. They were filming in like the Universal backlot or something.
Yeah. It looks like.
Why couldn't they get good sound?
Sorry. I'm thinking about the representation of jungles in this movie and how the forest right outside of the Bronx or whatever looks identical to the Amazon.
Oh yeah, dude. And then she's in the forest, and it's almost suggested that she drives a taxi to Peru. But also just is on a biplane, like an Indiana Jones style biplane. Somehow, I don't know where she got that. We're jumping around, but there's just so many great moments. Another great moment in the movie is when she's trying to stay anonymous. She doesn't want to get hunted down by the cops because there's a bunch of bullshit. And in order to hide from the evil pursuer, Ezekiel Sims, who was with her mother in the jungle right before she died, studying spiders.
Famous line.
But by the way, can we talk about that though?
Not in the movie. It's not fucking in it for some reason. But anyway, yeah, there's just a sequence where she's like, I need to make sure no one's able to track me in a taxi she stole. So she takes off the license plates. Mm-hmm. The end. She doesn't put new ones on.
She takes off the license plate, it almost looks like she leaves the license plate right next to the car. Yeah. And by the way,
taxi.
It was a taxi that was used for a kidnapping. Where they're talking about it on the news, on the radio.
They don't know who she is, and she's an EMT driver who I guess doesn't have a car, has a $3 million New York apartment.
Yeah, right. It is. The movie does take place aggressively in 2003. And so
I guess just because Sony, it's not technically the Spider-Man universe. It was gonna be the Andrew Garfield universe, and then they got dropped there. It's the whole the Sony Pictures universe of movies, aka the Spum, is a mess. It's scum. But there's really not much of a reason for it to be in 2003.
I even heard that like the ending song is like from the 90s or something, right?
Yeah, the music, look, they didn't put much thought into the like if the music fit the era.
They had that big wall, that big Beyonce installment. Oh, and Toxic by Britney Spears. Tell me you don't love this song. Most insane scene. We are jumping around too much.
Well, the weird thing about Toxic, as we all know, is that if you drive to it, you go slower than if you run. You turn up to a cafe, which you know the location of later.
Why did it take her? I literally was talking to my friend. Oh God. Okay, we have to go chronologically because I'm jumping around.
Yes,
but go back to the ADR idea.
Can I go back to the fact that we established that the diner was 0.5 miles away from the forest?
They are so specific about this.
It took her so long to drive that 0.5 miles.
This is a sequence. She needs to go and save her wards, who, by the way, if you see the trailer for this movie, when I saw the initial trailer, you might also be under the misconception that these are like her friends from work or something. It's her and like Sydney Sweeney and two others, and they're dressed in spider costumes. They're teaming up, Avengers. Yeah. I assumed, seeing the trailer, that they're all friends from work. She gets the Madam Web powers, and then she somehow bestows powers on them, and they become a team. They're supposed to be Sydney Sweeney, who is 8 years younger than Dakota Manona.
Wait, how old is Dakota Johnson?
34. 36. Sydney Sweeney's 28.
Sydney Sweeney's 26.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Johnson.
They're closer in age than like Sydney
34
Sweeney,
then, yeah.
I believe because of Euphoria that Sydney Sweeney can definitely play a teenager, but they almost worked to make it feel like an adult playing a teenager in this, like, it was the wardrobe.
They might as well give her like a big lollipop and like it is so they dress her like a Catholic baby, dude. She's like goo goo gaga uppies, and but no, she's supposed to be like a wizened elder who is she's presented the age that like Rachel is in the first season of Friends. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm just trying to get my life together. Who knows what I'm going to get up to next?
Yeah, she's in her early 30s, they say. Yeah. But she's 30 years old, like in the movie, because they go 1973, 2003, right? Or 74, 2003. She's like barely 30 in the story.
So the ADR thing I wanted to bring up is that there's never a dialogue-free moment in the film. There's constant talking to the point where she's alone and she talks to a cat.
That was wild.
Are you referring to the scene where, in order to illuminate the situation a little, but by the way, the pacing of this movie is very strange. Even thinking about it now, I can't order any of these moments because half the movie is her not getting what her power is. With sequence after sequence of, I think I can see the future. I'm talking 40 minutes of the fucking movie.
They do it. They overdo it so much. Mm-hmm. The fact that when she was at the baby shower and she's already had instances of her flashing forward to the future, but still treats it like to everyone else like she's above it. Like she's like, we just did this. Not I'm weird and I've been having visions.
Yeah. I mean, it's, obviously it's different kind of power set or whatever.
New York's crazy these days.
That's in my notes app. That's in my list of favorite quotes. The editing is crazy. There is a moment when she gets onto a train, nothing happens, and a guy goes, New York's getting crazier every day. It is, and then he says it 4 more times. It's one of them. It truly feels like a fan edit.
Hey, do you know where my train is going?
Wait, do you remember her reply? She says, I hope not.
Yeah,
he says, is this the train to Euchre? And
I hope. Because she's going to Poughkeepsie, and he's like, is this a train to, what is it?
Staten Island, whatever, some bullshit.
It's like, yeah, is this a train to, oh, fuck.
It's Peru. Is this the train that goes to Peru?
One of the craziest things that I didn't realize going into watching this is that it is a prequel to a movie that hasn't happened yet.
Yes, yeah,
so
and won't.
They planned. They're like, this is going to be so big. We're going to do a movie after this. So,
well, Kraven the Hunter, of course, coming out for soon.
I didn't know that.
Another bizarre adaptation of a property no one's interested in.
But they set all this stuff up. It's a superhero without really any superheroes.
No superheroes.
Like the movie.
No powers.
It
is also like the worst. So for a little context for the movie, Madam Web, through a series of extremely convoluted events when her mother was just studying spiders in the jungle with Ezekiel Sims right before she died. Through a series of convoluted events, Cassie Spider-Man is prior to the Spider-Man existing in this world.
Oh my God! Sorry.
Yeah, I put up the quotes list as well.
We're the bad guy. But what's his fucking name?
Ezekiel Sims. Where he goes, I don't care about who she's with or who they're with. I want to know about the girls. Cassandra Webb. Did you say Webb?
Why wouldn't he care? Why wouldn't he care about the person who is shuttling these girls around?
The reason he can't get them.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of this, she has access to almost a Groundhog style day power set where she's flashing forward into the future, experiencing something, getting killed, or they're getting killed, or something goes wrong, flashing back. But it's a kind of arbitrary amount of time. Sometimes it's a couple of minutes, sometimes it's till the morning, whatever. Imagine watching Groundhog Day. Or, even better, maybe a better comparison. Imagine just watching Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man 1, Tobey Maguire. And the scene where he shoots webs for the first time. He looks at his hand and goes, huh? And then there's like a knock at the door or something. And he goes downstairs. And 20 additional minutes of the movie go by before he acknowledges anything to do with the webs or anything. Uh-huh. And then there's another scene where he leaps over a building. And he goes, huh.
That's weird.
20 minutes of the movie go by. It's close to an hour. I think it's around the 1 hour mark of hour 30?
It's not that 20? Long.
It feels long.
Hours.
But yeah, it's not long.
It doesn't feel, by the way, that any powers happen throughout the entire movie because the only time you see powers happening are like vaguely when she's like, actually, I shielded you because I knew that piece of shrapnel was gonna come.
That's the thing, is it never feels like an interesting like application of that idea.
Yeah.
Like the fact that she can see into the future could basically be completely removed from the story.
Her power is dude perfect trick shots.
It is just really cool.
It's like I'm gonna drive. She fucking Grand Theft Autos the ambulance.
We'll have to get the clip of this.
And drives it off of a second story building, and then
nowhere near Ezekiel. Like he's 30 feet lower.
He's 30 feet lower, and then he jumps up into the fucking ambulance because she called her shot. She knew she conditioned him, dude. It's like a fighting game.
He's downloaded.
Yeah.
I was hooting and hollering when the ambulance came out of the like second or third floor because all you see is like close-ups of her driving. You have no idea where she is.
The geography of this whole movie.
Why did she steal the ambulance? Because she had the taxi that she already stole.
It is. Something. So a couple of people. My friend went over to me at one point because the whole night we were just doing the same joke of just like, she'd say like, "Let me get some coffee," or like, "Let me get a little bit of web," just doing that back and forth all night, and then. He pointed out, it's like, this should be Madame Carr. She's just stealing. There's 4 different times she steals a car.
She's very good at driving.
She's like, really good at driving.
The very first scene of her, she's driving an ambulance. Like,
you sent me the poster where it says Madam Web and Mr. Jump.
Okay, wait. I have a question for Jacob.
Jacob, you can show this picture where I'm in my car and I'm just crying. After watching the movie, I'm just sitting in my car before I drive home, fucking crying because I can't compose myself.
Dude,
if you type in Madam Web train scene, by the way, there's a 4-minute scene.
Yeah.
And I think we'll be able to.
This will look like if like a TikTok summary of a movie comes up and they move around the order of the shots to not get flagged. That's what half this movie feels like.
Yeah.
And not in a non-linear time kind of way, though that's also incomprehensible.
Okay, wait. Okay. Can we hear it? Can we hear it? Oh, wait, this is the 1-minute version. Can we look at the 4-minute version?
This was the longest 4 minutes of my life.
Why? In fact, it might be revealed here. So, Jacob, let me just ask you a question as somebody that has not seen the movie. Would you like to take...
If you search on YouTube, it's that one.
You want to take a stab at, because I believe it's established in this scene. What nickname is established by the cast and then carried for about 2/3 of the movie? Here are your 4 options. This man has he has Spider-Man powers, but he can't shoot webs and he's not strong, and it's kind of useless.
And we never name him the entire movie.
Ceiling guy, crawl man, freaky dude, or Mr. Webb.
I guess B, crawl man.
Ceiling guy. For most of the movie, they call him Ceiling guy.
Honorable mention goes to when Sydney Sweeney says he's some kind of spider person.
Yeah, dude. It is so the restraint they have on some stuff, some references or whatever, and then the other ones, like to the point where I thought we were going to get a word for word. Well, I was just thinking about how like when you have like power. Yeah, you probably have a bunch of responsibility.
Okay, so there's the famous Uncle Ben line with it is Uncle Ben, right?
It is Uncle Ben.
The famous Uncle Ben line with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Played in this movie by Adam Scott, by the way.
Well, Adam Scott's great.
He's great in it.
I was constantly surprised by who was in this film.
Yeah,
I was like, he wasn't in the trailer, was he?
Yeah, yeah. Why is Mike Epps in this movie?
No, dude.
But it's cool. I mean, like,
it's people getting tricked by their agents telling them it's Marvel.
Yeah, but I don't. I will never fault the actors. These are all extremely talented actors. Yeah. They have just been done. It's almost like I almost feel like they're showing me scenes that I shouldn't see, or they're cut in ways that I shouldn't see them cut because they make the acting. It's almost like when someone holds a line and then holds frame to like make sure that you get the whole shot, and then in editing you tighten everything up, right?
It's there's wrap ups on these where clearly they're waiting for a cut. That's the professional thing to do. You've done your line, you've done your presentation, and then at the end of every single like rush in every single movie ever, there is always a long period where they just have to kind of improvise. Be like, so they've been in like Samurai Cop where it's just sat there like, those kids, because it's just not cutting.
Yeah.
There is
he always presses down on the patties. Like he's ruining the hamburger patties. Oh, you're talking about how he's ruining the patties by pressing them down?
There's just a whole...
All the fat's coming out of the patty, and that's where the flavor comes from.
It might even be on
these
the...
Are real
These are real stuff. And that, which goes nowhere, by the way, which I know we're leaping around. We should say, speaking of Adam Scott, there is this was my favorite line of the whole thing.
Okay.
There is a reveal of Emma Roberts playing Mary Parker, whatever Peter Parker's mother's name.
Yes.
And this is all like very casually acknowledged. They say what their name is, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, Uncle Ben is there. There's even a throwaway line where it says something like, Ben's really looking forward to being an uncle.
Yeah. He's going to be a great uncle.
They will never say, everything.
It's almost like a copyright.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to. Let me know if this is going to steal your thunder, because hopefully not. During the baby shower.
Yes,
is that where you're going?
There's something she says that is.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
I hurt my back laughing at this because it's also relatively early in the movie when my expectations were low, but I did not expect hits like this. At the bridal shower for 9 months pregnant Mary Parker, after receiving a kick from the baby she is carrying, she says she might as well just look into the camera. She chuckles and says to her friends, "He won't stop swinging around in there."
Oh. I didn't catch that one.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, he won't stop swinging around in there.
Who's gonna
he won't stop fighting Green Goblin in there.
What's the baby's name? Richard? We're not gonna name him Richard. And then
what an insane game.
Insane moment number 5,000 that happens at this baby shower. They're doing a thing where everybody's written down their favorite relationship with their mother. We're pulling them out. We're all at bridal showers you talk about motherhood, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's all you're allowed to talk
And you guess the name with no hints.
Yeah, and you go, "Oh, she always used to cut the crust off my sandwiches." Is that you, Sarah? Yeah, that was me.
Nah,
that was me.
mine.
Okay, next one. This one's blank. Who the fuck left a blank piece of paper in there?
And then Dakota Johnson does her understandably asleep performance. She goes, "Oh, that was me."
That was me? Why didn't you leave a thing about your mom?
Or do nothing. Or you can put nothing.
Or if you see a blank slip, don't call it out.
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, my mom's dead. My mom died in childbirth."
It is really strange, that's actually an element of her personality that's never really fleshed out, is that she's just a weird person. She's perfectly socialized. She has a job. She gets along with people. She's a little kind of like wry or whatever, a little off-putting, a little short with people. But she's, fun enough, has friends. She is completely incapable of interacting with people half the time when it serves the script. And then she's with Adam Scott, just like, "Hey, what's the deal with the airplane food? You seen this?" And then she goes on the train, is like, "I one Twain licket, please."
Well, then she's like, "Well, my mom died," and then everybody's like, "Oh no." Well, maybe that's why you don't call people out when they don't answer the thing. First of all,
maybe I rewrote this in my brain, but I remember someone going, "Surely you have one good memory."
Yes, dude. No, literally before she says the thing about it, they're leaning into it. They're like, "Come on, you've got something with your mom. Everyone has a mom." Dude. That's the subtext of it is there's no one in the world without a mom.
It's literally like if she was just like, what's everybody's mom up to at the moment? Like, I don't know, I really miss her. Like, is she traveling? Where's she walking away? Do you know where she is?
And then that same person is the one who goes, "Let's change the subject."
Yeah, dude. It's like the Key and Peele sketch of awkward. And it's like, no, it wasn't till you said that.
Because then she goes on this thing where she goes, "My mom, she died in childbirth." And then Mary Parker is like, no, but childbirth is it's
rare.
It's
rare.
It
doesn't happen that often.
And then also my mom, she was in she was in the Amazon or
with
whatever.
Ezekiel Sims studying subscribers right before she died.
Yeah, she died in childbirth because she got shot. Also,
what? Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. There's two big issues with her whole character. Is that her motivation, her dark past, is that her mum died, which she hates her mother for because she was in Peru and you were asking her to die.
She's like, why? You didn't care about me.
But we know why. Like, we don't know the literal reason she was in Peru, but we know the first scene of the movie she gets shot.
Yeah.
So we know that her hatred for her mother doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So we had to spend the whole movie with this like obnoxious going like, well, I lied because my favorite line of the movie is actually when she, reading through her mum's research journal that she collected during her research in the Amazon right before she died with Ezekiel Sims.
But she like doesn't look at it in her entire life until it's relevant to the plot.
It's
at which point she
under
reads
her
it for
bed.
the first time under her bed.
She like flips through it so haphazardly, doesn't spend much time on anything.
Yeah, so she just wants to look at the pictures. And it's all pictures of spiders, by the way. Like, of course it is. Oh, and also stills from the movie that they pretend are Polaroids, which is hilarious.
Yeah, but just take a Polaroid.
Ezekiel Sims behind.
Yeah, hey guys, you have cameras. It's a movie. You can just do another shot
it's
and
like
take
the
something
prop
from there.
department could have. It's like they realized way too late. It's almost like they green screened the photo onto the pieces of paper.
We've got too many spiders. We need people. Also, why is a research journal of a photo of her and Ezekiel Sims? That's weird. But yeah, anyway, she is reading through this Indiana Jones style diary, which is mostly drawings of spiders and nonsense scribbles and some math for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Cassie,
spider equations.
Cassie Webb. Did somebody say Webb? Cassie solemnly says, well, Mom, I hope the spiders were worth it. That messed me up. I was like, we were grabbing each other in the theater, just
There were so many things that I can't even explain why they were funny because it was the awkward silence or the awkward moment. And again, it's not the actors. Like,
it feels like a combination of the heavily used ADR.
Yeah.
Which you can't do good acting when you're recording ADR because you're by yourself in a booth. You know what I mean?
And they're all for like intimate scenes too.
Yeah.
Like so the spacing sounds wrong.
Yeah.
Because they're not treating the audio to say all the ADR audio sounds like it's in the same place. It all sounds like it's in a booth. So whether it's Ezekiel Sims exploding in Times Square or it's her speaking to her cat and being like, awkward, it sounds exactly the same.
Ezekiel Sims, by the way, has an accent that I cannot place.
Well, so supposedly a lot of his lines are ADR'd and a lot of the shots just sneakily lead away from him while he does his lines because supposedly, well, one of the claims is that his voice and his acting and it was like hard to understand. His like accent was
too thick of an accent.
But the voice they gave him is like a Johnny Depp accent.
Yeah.
Did they give him a different voice?
I don't know.
Did someone else do his voice?
He's got this bizarre like
it was so strange
affect. Like, I don't know if he's supposed to be from Peru and that's why he was there. His backstory is completely untouched.
Okay.
Oh yeah, because I don't feel like the whole movie, it opens up. Beginning scene, they're in Peru researching spiders. She's like, we're gonna find the spider. She's like looking at a web so that she's into that kind of thing or whatever. And then
says, is that your web? Yeah, it's my damn web.
Yeah, and then she got him.
Good one.
She comes back to the camp and then she's like, I got the spider. And then Ezekiel Sims just fucking rains hellfire on everybody in the camp. Just shoots one of the random dudes. I don't know who that guy was. I guess he was one of the...
Oh, there's just like... Yeah,
he murders a man.
No, there's two jungle police for some reason that he also shoots.
He just shoots a random man and the man dies. And then and then she's like, please don't shoot me. And he's like, give me the spider. And then she's like, over my dead body. And then he's like, okay.
Well, and also like, it's like, you're working together.
Yeah.
Just take it.
Just take it.
What's she gonna do? Call the police and have you arrested?
Lady.
What? Like, I just don't.
No, what I'll do
understand.
is kill her.
He's like, she finally found the spider. Now's the time for my gun. You could just go, let me see, and then run away.
Yeah. What she gonna chase you?
Also, can
in a
we
taxi?
talk about how? Okay, so she's shot. She's dying on the jungle floor, and
she's dying.
Group of spider people.
Yeah. White guys. To be clear,
the Justice League of bespoke Spider-Man. All like
frankly,
descend on her.
Descend on her.
With the costuming of like a Korean knockoff merchandise called like Spider Time.
Yeah.
It was
Mr.
like,
Spider.
I think that they were like, oh, well, they wouldn't be able to make like high quality Spider-Man costumes, so they have to make it with like twigs or whatever.
They've got like red branches wrapped around.
Yeah. I mean, I think what they would probably just do is not make a Spider-Man costume.
Also,
doesn't
be
exist.
Normal people.
Is it not insensitive that they randomly like imbue this magical indigenous group with like spider powers? That was kind of weird to me.
There's a lot of Marvel stuff. Like I bet that's from a comic book.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stuff like that where you're like, he is like indigenous South American.
Yeah.
And is like has like powers that feel racist.
I mean, that's the thing is
Sure.
like he this is just like a contemporary dude, and when you see him in a different setting, he's just like wearing like jeans. But in that environment, he's speaking, ambiguous. Who knows if he is Peruvian? I would guess he's
European.
I assume he's whatever the easiest thing to cast was, because they're shooting in Chesapeake. Like it is not. They're shooting in Staten Island. They're not going to reach out for somebody out of the country. But he has this weird. The shaman takes it to the whatever. But it is so like the whole movie has this weird, a very strange relationship with its own story, where it doesn't seem particularly interested in its story and won't spend a lot of time building out the world or explaining why certain characters feel certain ways. But it also is definitely not interested in being an action movie and having compelling action scenes. So it's all these scenes that feel like filler scenes till you get to the thing you like. It feels like the law scenes between John Wick fights, except when you get to the John Wick fight, it's him having a bath.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is I wasn't bored.
No,
I'm watching filler scene after filler scene, and I'm captivated.
Because it's a great comedy.
I was captivated just because the use of space and timing and dialogue was so compellingly strange.
Did you see Morbius?
Yeah.
You want to do one of the viewings with Eddie, right?
Yeah.
Because Morbius obviously
wasn't bad like this.
Same, spum universe issue, same not touch Spider-Man, but kind of is, but whatever. Also a story about a guy with a medical issue, so he goes to a vague different country to get a creature, this time a bat, that gives him specific powers, and maybe he's good, maybe he's bad.
Also, the disease that Madam Web has that is cured by the spiders is just a real disease that people have.
Yeah, so at the very end, you find out, her mom actually loved her because she found out her baby was going to be born with a chronic...
a physioneurological disease.
Yes, and so she was going to Peru to find the spider because... rumor has it the spider
the
can
peptides.
Cure. The peptides.
The peptides.
And
they keep saying that.
I don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Her life career is not particularly clear if she was an explorer or whatever. But
was she a spider scientist? We don't know.
We don't know.
Was she a photographer? Because that's what it
But
felt like.
she doesn't seem very good at it.
But luckily when she was I thought that maybe the most realistic, best scene in the movie from a isolated standpoint was the scene between the mother and the doctor, because the doctor is doing doctor things where they're giving her like a horrible prognosis, and she's like, the best you can offer me is like is a hug, or what, I can't remember what she says, but basically she's like calling out the doctor, you can't help me, but you're telling me to not do something. I want to take control. I want to take action. It's a very believable thing that probably happens to countless women, especially.
The mother's performance is the most consistent in the movie. For
the mother's performance
is
great. But just like that scene is very grounded until Madam Web, Cassie, is witnessing this.
Is astrally projected.
She astrally projected
and hugs her mom.
In a like it was almost like a fucking Queen music video where her face comes out of the darkness. She goes, "You did it." Dude.
And in case
I don't have the disease.
Dude, the line before, when the doctor says, I'm afraid your daughter has this, forget the condition that says, has this condition, it is a physioneurological disorder. And then in case you aren't looking at the movie or hearing it, Cassie then immediately says, but I don't have a physioneurological disorder.
Yeah, because the whole time she's like, wait, my mom wasn't just an evil woman that died?
That didn't care about me.
That went on vacation to Peru for fun.
Like, because in her head, her mom was so gung-ho about spiders, was so like into spiders that she was going to take her like days from being born, like daughter to a place where there was no doctors nearby.
Do you guys think, because I'm sure it's subject to reshoots and rewrites, all these dog shit Sony projects are, do you think Ezekiel Sims was supposed to be her dad at one point? Because they never talk about a dad.
I don't know anything about the comic.
Neither do I.
Oh, I think Ezekiel Sims is unrelated to that. Well, as a Madam Web's just like an 80-year-old woman from like from the alternate dimensions and shit.
Oh, dude,
this is like
So Cassie Webb sees this vision of her mother at the doctor's office because she goes to Peru to seek out like answers.
Hope it was worth it.
And the funny thing is she's like, I'm going to go to Peru. She gets in her stolen cab, drives away. And then when she gets back from Peru, she drives the cab home.
Did she leave it at the airport?
So
no one at JFK saw a license plateless cab sat in the middle of the road and was like, I should call somebody.
Well, the owner of that cab who was just like helping a family like get out of his cab when she like GTA'd his cab away. He's out a cab. That is his livelihood.
And it's also like you didn't have to go to Peru for that. It's a very strange choice because
but you know what I thought was going to happen? I thought she was going to take the girls with her to Peru
she leaves
for training.
Okay, we need to talk about the girls because the funny thing about her going to Peru is one of the girls going, "You've got to go to Peru, don't you?" How did you know that? That is a gigantic logical leap.
Mr. Wick, are you back in? I gotta go to Peru.
By the way, Ezekiel Sims' entire character and hairstyle is just Spider John Wick.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my God, we haven't even talked about the girl from Girls.
Oh,
who's his like
Shoshana from Girls.
Yeah.
It's
Zosha?
It's Zosha or Zasha. I don't know how you say it, but it's spelled Zosiah. But
she's just there.
They have a technology that does not exist in 2003 that Ezekiel Sims has gotten by sleeping with and killing NSA agents because that's how that works.
And at his house. By the way, he doesn't do it at a hotel. They go to his house.
This girl, we don't know anything about her. She's just the girl in the chair who is a tech wizard who can hack into any camera in the city.
Any camera in the city.
And
later,
we
learn about her. Nothing. Nothing
we don't learn anything about her.
She's not in the end of the movie.
She's not in the end of the movie. She has access to technology that did not exist, even with national intelligence, even with the Patriot Act. We were tapping telephones in 2003.
She was smarter than him to the point where she's like, you don't want to know about this woman who's with the three girls you're looking for? And he's like, no, I don't.
Named Cassandra Webb?
Webb.
Webb.
Where do I know that word
Did
from?
you say Spider-Man?
Webb.
No. Did you say Madam Webb? I just, sorry,
we have to watch this train scene too.
But just like, this is another one of those, sorry, how did this happen kind of scenes where it has to be a rewrite. It is a movie about someone that can see into the future, astrally project, find things, people, discover a mystery, hunt things down. And Ezekiel Sims' powers, though more physically focused, at one point he does have a telekinetic conversation with her.
Yeah.
He was bitten by the same spider.
Yeah.
But he uses a computer to hunt her down, not spider brain.
You may not have gotten the spider powers, but you have gotten a different strength.
Oh.
The power to see the future. Remember when she goes to the guy and he's like, yeah, you can't. There's a scene where Madam Webb tries to climb on a wall.
Oh my God. Yeah, so she goes to Peru to figure out what happened, meets the indigenous spider people.
And he goes, this is where you were born.
She meets Peruvian John Wick.
Weird underground pool where she was born.
Yeah.
And that's where she has like an out-of-body experience.
Well, they literally same, I guess, owning company, but like, they plagiarize the Doctor Strange
thing.
Play.
Yeah,
not just like doesn't touch her head or something. Literally palm punches the
her
soul
body out of her. Yeah, her soul out of her body. And then she goes into the water, and then that sort of comes back again. That sort of type of scene because it happens 3 times, I think.
It looks so bad
because it happens the first time when she falls into the water from the car. And then it happens the second time in Peru, and then it happens the third time at the end when she breaks her back, which is and goes blind.
It is when you see the wheelchair and her glasses.
It is the reveal is
the
insane.
Most amazing thing
It is so funny, and I don't know who it's in. There's something going on at like some point in the workflow of these movies where there's almost like a checklist of but people love Madam Web. We can't have her not be in a wheelchair and blind at the end.
Yeah, this is a beloved character that everybody knows. They want to see her iconic glasses and her iconic wheelchair.
But they don't want a movie about her, say, being paralyzed and blinded, and then her stories about her overcoming that.
We've already got we've already got Professor X. We already have Daredevil. People are tired of those things. We need to see
multi-class.
I'm like, that's the whole thing. It's like, why not just have her character be Professor X type? I feel like it could be.
Why not start with?
Why
her
isn't it the
being
movie?
powerful?
Yeah, because
it's like if Spider-Man got bit at the end.
Yeah,
it's like, because.
Especially because it just feels like paying lip service that at the end they're like, oh, well, she has to like break her back and become blind at the end. Because then she's not Madam Web.
One of the funniest shots.
It feels like a prequel. It's like, it doesn't make sense because if we were like, oh yeah, she was in a horrible accident, broke her back and went blind. And then through those challenges, realized she had powers or whatever. It's like, okay, that's kind of interesting. Or just the first Spider-Man with
Tobey Maguire.
No,
Andrew Garfield.
The current guy.
Tom Holland. Me. Donald Glover.
The first one with him, he already has his powers. We don't see him.
Yeah.
And it's
because
like,
it's
that's
a pointless,
really fun
and
to see.
You know what they don't do? At least in the first couple of movies, they kind of do it in I'm so magic. Far from home. I've got to go home. Where am I?
Far from home.
They do a No Way Home. That's the one.
Oh,
it's awful naming. I fucking hate it. They do not say with great power comes great responsibility because A, it's hack. And B, it's more provocative and people know that canon. If we had a 30-year cultural awareness or like 25-year cultural awareness of Madam Web's famous wheelchair, then maybe you have to allude to that. But if instead we'd never heard of Spider-Man ever, and during the whole movie he doesn't have his costume or any of his powers, and then, which also never happens, none of the girls who in the trailer have powers, that does not happen.
No, we are just okay. So Ezekiel Sims,
who was in the jungle with their mother.
Who was in the jungle? Watch the train scene.
We should. But his whole thing is that he has a dream every night, and he was explaining this to the NSA agent that he killed in his house, and then stole her NSA credentials, which implies that he did some sort of stealth mission to steal the technology out of the NSA.
I know that sounds exciting. We don't want to watch that.
Which again, if you have the proprietary technology, you still do need like the servers and the cameras and like all the stuff. Like it's unclear. It's not sexy. Also, it's 2003, and we were, Patriot Act. We were tapping phones. We did not have facial recognition.
What would be helpful is spider brain powers. That would really put him ahead of the game.
Can I just briefly mention this is a movie about EMTs right after 9/11. 9/11 is never mentioned. They don't mind. There's no illusion.
There's lots of terrorism in the movie in that Madam Web drives her stolen taxi into a diner.
There was a lot of domestic, and also it takes place clearly summer 2003. The invasion of Iraq was March 2003.
Yeah.
It is really weird to set it at that time.
And you can just drive your stolen cab straight to Peru and
straight to the airport. Get on, and then post 9/11, you drive an unmarked stolen car to the airport, and it's there when you get back from Peru. She just parked it in the fucking. Oh, I'm gonna get on a flight, so I've got to do the. Oh, is it 3-day long-term parking? Oh, no big deal. I'll be here. No, you can't take a picture of my license plate as it does not exist.
And what's that? Ezekiel Sims has access to the entire the entirely national grid of all cameras and all tracking and everything. I'd better go to the airport.
Not all connected, by the way.
I should go to the airport where there's no cameras or logs, where nobody writes anything down.
Well, no one cares about Cassie. No, because she's not important.
Okay, so you were talking about his motivation.
But I was saying, so his motivation. So we see that he has a recurring dream every single night of him being killed by
fucking ass kicked.
Getting his ass kicked by the 3 Spider women.
The Go Bosses.
I do want to pull up the actors' names because I know we keep saying Sydney Sweeney, and I want to just give the other actors. But this is not a slight on the actors. But it is very Disney Channel coded. It is very like the superhero scenes feel like Kick-Ass, where it's like a tongue-in-cheek superhero.
This feels like a movie from 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I also just have to quickly say about the characters, kind of, I don't want to be that like guy, but kind of racist. Like here's like the nice Catholic girl, and she's innocent and sweet, but maybe a little naive, and then the black girl, kind of a bully and a bit aggressive and kind of a ragamunt punk. And then the Hispanic teenager whose main trait at the beginning is not being able to pay rent.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
the dad got deported.
Her dad got deported.
Come on.
It's Isabella Merced, Sydney Sweeney, and Celeste O'Connor. Not to mention like the Maddie Franklin, Celeste O'Connor's character is the edgy black girl who's a skateboarder, and she flips you off.
Yeah. And it goes in front of traffic.
Yeah, mad black girl.
Yeah, mad black girl. And then there's
Scary Spice.
There's she's very Scary Spice. Yeah. And then it was 2003. Yeah. And then the
Latina girl.
The Latina girl who her dad got deported. She needs to lie low, and she doesn't need anybody else, and she's handling herself just on her own. None of them have parents, so that's a requirement to be a spider person, I think.
She's wearing a t-shirt the whole time that says "I eat math for breakfast," which is
because she's a freaky genius girl, a la Gabriella Cortez from High School Musical, which is why it felt like a Disney Channel movie, because they're hitting all of these tropes. Mm-hmm. And then Sydney Sweeney is the hot glasses girl, where she like. You could just take your head out. Like there's a scene where in the original draft of this, they took off her glasses and she danced for the jocks or whatever.
Yeah.
But instead they like lift up her shirt a little bit and like tie it in a little cute way. So it's like a crop.
It is odd to have her being like, the movie doesn't know whether to infantilize her down to like an implied like 16-year-old or to treat her like the like the nationally recognized current like top 5 sex symbols in media. Mm-hmm. And also she is, I don't know about literal age, but she looks older, pretty significantly older than the other two girls.
Yeah.
At least in like, she's taller.
I think it's like a hair and makeup thing or like a, I don't want to place any individual blame because it definitely feels like something just like didn't match when everything came together.
It's a bad direction.
But it is like Sydney Sweeney, I think, is a believable high school person in Euphoria because they're at the very least, say what you will about all the shit with Euphoria, but she at least feels like a 3-dimensional person.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's like all she talks about. Well, I guess she doesn't get that much time to talk about anything other than being like a goody two shoes.
That's the problem, right? Is that none of the characters are that developed.
So they can only be their 2-dimensional selves.
If it weren't for the movie,
no high fives. That's lame.
Literally, if the movie wasn't called Madam Web, you could really make the argument that there's no protagonist in this movie.
Yeah.
Sure, she has the most screen time, but her background is as vague as the others. Mm-hmm. The big they all connect scene. Do you guys remember that scene? Learning CPR.
Learning CPR is a huge plot point in this film. And what's funny is legally films can't actually show you how to actually do CPR because you can be like, oh, I did what Madam Web told me to do, and I killed this guy.
So I feel like they did that, though.
They showed you the worst.
So now I'm going to know it. Now I know it wrong?
It's even worse because they just don't say all the steps. So now you're just like, oh, I just do compressions for hours.
Also, with my friends, we switch off.
Dude.
Keep the beat.
This is what it makes it feel. It's not a COVID movie, but it feels like a COVID movie because everything that like, you can imagine what the big scale version of every scene is. The big connecting moment for them. It's not watching a movie. It's not even going on an adventure together. They basically all just hate each other.
Yeah.
Then the girls just kind of arbitrarily start becoming friends.
Yeah.
And then there's no arc. And nothing about their life change. And then they just start practicing CPR very roughly. They're really shoving this pillow that they're practicing on. And it's doing this like, adorable panning 360 of the group, all going like they're doing a changing montage, going like. But for CPI, and the thing they say, the team up thing is, I'm getting tired. Oh, you should switch out. And they do it 3 times. Mm-hmm. And then it comes back at the end as the big, like, I guess we were a team the whole time.
Yeah.
No, you aren't though.
I like when the big part where she's like, well, I got to take you home to your parents. And the turning point where they hate her up until this point, and then they're like, we don't have parents. You're our parent now. And she's like, okay.
We don't have, my parents are in China. My parents hate me. My dad just got deported. Oh shit. Like, okay, what do we do now?
This is my lowest point.
I'm gonna fuck off to Peru.
My backstory
What do you do in that situation? You guys just hang out in the hotel with your stolen taxi cab sitting outside of the motel?
They went to Ben's house.
Right, they went to Ben's house.
And they became best friends with Ben and Mary Parker.
The thing is, though, as we know, you can't leave 17-year-olds at a house by themselves. So when these 17-year-olds that are being hunted by a giant Spider-Man, when a woman goes into labor, put them all in the same sedan and drive to the hospital. Make sure you're all together.
We can't leave you.
Can't do that.
Can't obscure your faces. Got to make sure. Got to make sure they're all seen.
Yeah, take your glasses off. Look at this camera.
In the storyline, Madam Web sees these girls get abducted, or excuse me. So after the scene, Madam Web sees these girls getting killed. She needs to save them.
Pretty
brutally. They go and there's like a neurotoxin that comes out of Ezekiel Sims's hand. After this, she steals the taxi, drives them away. They eventually end up in the forest where she leaves them for hours.
The taxi is more of a character than most of the other people.
Taxi is really developed.
Yeah,
it's actually like
one of the most developed characters.
It's like the horse from Frozen.
So then I need to give this background so that I can say one of the wildest things to me is so then she goes to the forest, leaves them in the forest. She goes back home to like look through her things, which I don't know why she had to leave them in the forest for that. But then she leaves them for too long. It's nighttime in the forest. These 3 girls are alone. They're also hungry. They know that 0.5 miles away there's a diner, so they go to the diner to eat. We find out one of the characters, Maddie, has a lot of money because her parents are rich, but they're neglectful or whatever. So she's like the rebel child. And then, right before Madam Web comes back, the inciting event for the conflict that occurs at the diner is a man looks at a newspaper that he is holding. They were abducted today. He already has a newspaper in his hand that has their faces on it. It has been 6 hours since they were abducted. How did they print and distribute a newspaper already?
By the way, this diner, lest you forget, is in the woods.
Yeah.
It's not in this. It's miles away.
There's a little paperboy extra.
I'm so tired.
Late edition of the paper.
Extra late edition of the paper, missing persons edition.
I'm one of them. I'm lost in the woods.
We got all the missing persons available right here for you. There's 3 women. Maybe you've seen them at the diner you're at.
Are we in Peru?
I actually have Madam Web powers as well, and I think they'll be here later.
Did somebody say Madam Web?
Okay, we can watch this now.
She's some kind of Madam Web.
It's such Disney Channel outfits.
Gosh, every shot's so much longer than it needs to be.
Get up.
Oh, they cut it out.
So that, just to explain, that happens like 10 times where she sees a girl being attacked and then a guy sits next to her and is like, is this the right train? And then she sees another girl being attacked and then something else happens.
Every time she has one of these visions, she has it like 4 times.
Yeah,
it's astounding.
And she doesn't, she's just like, that's weird.
And it was tense because...
we got to take your blood oxygen. Haven't we already done it?
Look, bitch, what
I'm
is going
89.
on?
This is not the first time this has happened. The train scene is like 3 visions deep You know,
there are 5 set pieces before she takes. This is the first time she's using it in any way, and she still doesn't understand it after this.
Yeah.
She still doesn't. The first time it ever comes up is just boring banal at a event or whatever. Oh no, she almost dies at work and it activates the latent spider gene or something.
Right.
That one happens, but the power has nothing to do with that. It just coincidentally happens. Next scene, she goes to the bridal shower and a barbecue, and that is kind of happening. Follow up, there is a fire at a fireworks, like a comically explosive factory that the final set piece also happens.
That is like a joke too, like a fire at the fireworks factory. That's like, you know, like it's like a Pepsi logo. It's like a joke.
Do you remember the part where
Pepsi's
they're like
a giant sponsor of this?
Oh, distractingly. But do you remember the big sequence during that fire where they're like, "Hey, we got to make sure to get everyone out because the building's structurally unsound and very explosive." And then they go back to that building a week later and they have not removed the explosives or fixed it. They just put the fire out.
And instead they have the teen girls put flares in a bunch of explosive crates so that they can explode the fireworks. But because Madame Web didn't have a vision about it going bad, I guess it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does seem to operate on that way around. Is like, well, I'll see it if I die.
Yeah.
So I
can't go that way. Got to go this way.
Yeah, also, there's 2 different instances of somebody just being killed that she has a premonition of and doesn't do anything about.
Does nothing.
There's her
Mike
friends.
Epps, can I drive the ambulance? No. Okay.
Cool.
Boom, gets hit by a car.
Yeah, comically slow truck just slaps into the side of
That was
him.
really funny because I thought it was going to be fireworks related because they kept stopping.
I thought it was going to happen a little bit later than right after he pulls into the intersection.
When there's
she goes, "No, Mike Epps," and he's like, "I gotta drive the thing. I'm Mike Epps. I make bad hamburgers anyway." And then he goes,
"Is that a grand piano?"
Oh no! Yeah, like it happens in the background while we're still sitting there with her.
He literally might as well get hit by a meteor.
Yeah,
like it is just nothing. And then she does nothing. She doesn't use that or even like try. And then when she knows she has powers, final set piece.
She cared more about saving these girls than fucking her friend and colleague of many years.
Which remember when she calls to get like preemptively, Madam Webbly, she uses the web, real line, use the web. She calls the cops to send a helicopter to pick them up off of the roof.
Yes.
The fireworks that she sets flies into one of them and explodes the helicopter, not just blows up the tail of the helicopter so it goes spinning and ambiguously A-team style. You can say, the pilot got out.
She murdered some helicopter guys.
The whole thing fucking obliterates the front windows. There is no ambiguity that he's dead. Does she use that premonition to do anything? No, she lets him die.
These lives are more valuable than the lives of the helicopter pilot
the cast.
of Mike Epps. There is a funny moment about that where the helicopter rescue mission guy says something that I think, I could be wrong here, would never happen in real life, where they say, "We can't reach you from there. You have to go higher." Why would you? What do you mean go higher?
Lower.
like you're telling these people who are on an explosive building to climb something? Like they're not. It's not meant for climbing.
We need you to ride one of the fireworks over to the helicopter.
Can I tell you my favorite scene?
Yes. Please.
When the big battle at the end, they're on the Pepsi logo. They're on at the fireworks factory.
They really are. It's not a joke. They are. They're physically on the Pepsi logo, and the S from the Pepsi and the P from the Pepsi feature prominently in early in the movie and late in the movie.
It's all part of her fate.
They're on the Pepsi logo.
Oh, and there's that moment where they drink a Pepsi and it's like logo out.
Yeah.
The freshest, bluest looking can of Pepsi I've ever seen in my life.
She's like tapping the can and like playing with it.
She's like, "I sure do love Pepsi."
Man, I sure do miss my mum, but a little bit less with the power of Pepsi Max.
So it's the big final battle. They're on the Pepsi logo. And she has finally realized by using the web, she can be in multiple places at once. And because they cannot have a moment of silence in this film, and they were really banging them out in the ADR booth, she's like, she's just like, Jesus,
Floating.
and all of her different selves are helping all of the girls. And she goes, "Here, take my hand. Come on, let me help you." All right,
She's like Siri.
now. Like she's saying these dumb, weird lines Just show us. Why is she saying
And
anything?
the music also is like the Triumph music is at full blast. Yeah. So it's buried in the mix. It's like
the funny thing about that scene, I think the theater I was in, everyone laughed at this, was that she's like what are their names again? It's Isabel hold on. Let's see. Oh, Isabel Merced's character. Isabel, Sydney, and Celeste. Or Anya. Anya is her name. And Sydney Sweeney's character is named Julia. Okay.
Not Cassie, which is confusing.
Yeah, that is confusing. So she's like, Julia, do this. Anya, do this. And then she goes, Maddie, hold on. she doesn't do any. She goes to Maddie and just gives her words of encouragement. She's not doing. She doesn't tell her to do anything different.
Need to be there.
And we really can't emphasize this enough. The peak of her powers is it's not her astral projecting and then using like telekinesis to lift a big rock or something. It's her power gives her the ability of having friends.
It's anxiety. Her power is like, I think something bad's gonna happen.
But her astral projection thing just like it's if Adam Scott was there, he's that.
Yeah.
Like if she has 3 friends with her, she has the exact same thing as her power.
Right.
Yeah.
They just turned up and they're like, oh hey, okay, let me give you a hand. That's it. And it's not like a cool, like she floats down and gives them a hand. She's like clumsily like, oh God, I'm so sorry, don't fall.
I really didn't believe that her and Adam Scott, Ben Parker, were friends during their partners, paramedic partners, and they're eating like Chinese food, and Adam Scott's talking about how he met someone.
Which that
weird.
was so confusing because I was like, is he telling her that because they used to date? Like what's the
idea is that their coworker. It's weird because their relationship isn't such that he could be dating someone for a while and it's gotten serious and she doesn't know about it.
Yeah.
Because he goes,
every day.
I met someone, and they go, what's this one's name? This is what Cassie says. No, she says it like, what's this one's name? And then
Because she's asleep.
And it's so weird because it's like I have to assume this was a choice that was like I don't think it's her fault.
I mean, I don't know if I'd use the word fault. She just doesn't give a shit. She didn't give a shit on the press tour. She knows the movie's dog shit.
Yeah.
She's a good performer.
But then Ben Parker just goes.
It says nothing.
And she goes, it's serious.
Oh, it's serious.
Because you won't tell me her name.
Yeah. Again,
or because now that I'm razzing you about it, you're like, no, this one's for real.
We can. It's just I can see, like Matt using the web. I can see what this movie was. Several different. I can astral project myself into different edits. Absolutely, there was a version of this, and this really shows when like she drives them over to Ben and is like, I need your help. I need you to do something. So that's him like stepping up to the plate or whatever. That scene especially, clearly, that's supposed to be a relationship that's kind of been cultivating because he had just been a friend, but no, they're partners for the ambulance. And then clearly it was supposed to be well, now that I'm omnipotent in the future with my funny glasses, I have to let that go. I have to let earthly things go. I can no longer be friends.
How's your vision?
Crazy line. Crazy line.
They walk into a clock tower apartment, her new $20 million loft apartment.
She breaks her back and eyes. She is permanently.
She is smacked by a firework
and blinded. And the girls come to visit her and ask her how her vision is.
She's like, still not there.
Still blind, man. She's like, I can see now better than I ever using the web. I can
see now than I better have before.
I gotta tell
bless you, by the way. You're about to sneeze,
dude. Exhausting to live with her. Every time it's like, oh, to finish your shit, did you? And then you flush. Yeah, fucking.
You forgot to flush.
Yeah, I know you can do that. I know you have powers. You don't have to keep doing this.
But I just want to conclude by saying, loved the movie.
Adored it every second.
I genuinely like. We will show the picture of me crying because it is well, actually, can we watch more of the train scene? I want to see what shows, because the one thing I do want to try to illustrate, and obviously they're not going to show this on anything they publicly release, is the sheer awkwardness. Yeah. Adam Scott, I think, is impervious to awkwardness, because somehow all of his deliveries felt well placed.
He plays an awkward character in most of the things he does, including this film. So
shame his name is Ben again.
I know. I almost feel like he leans into it, and it's fun. Like, he's a fun.
He has
guy
the
to
right
watch.
reactions to. I think I'm an Adam Scott stan.
He's just a very natural performer. Like,
You know what? I'm actually a Dakota Johnson fan, even though I don't like any movie she's ever been in.
Did you see the Suspiria remake?
What?
You see the Suspiria remake?
No, I didn't.
She's really good in that.
Really?
I want to.
Oh, you know what? She's good in her last name's Coleman. Olivia Coleman's movie where she goes to the beach. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Beach Olivia.
Anyways, there are a few films I like her in.
Church.
But Dakota Johnson is I just like her as a person for some reason.
I want to see at least one of her phoned in press tour things, because I didn't see any.
What? No.
I will say she did a great. I was watching the Shane Gillis monologue this morning, because it was, the whole thing.
Lost Daughter.
I saw a couple of her SNL sketches from, she hosted whatever, like 2 months ago or something. Yeah. Great in those. Did a really good. They called We Can Destroy Us Now.
Please Don't Destroy.
She does a great sketch with Please Don't Destroy, where they very openly acknowledge that 3 of the 4 of them in that scene are Nepo babies. And then they all put their rings together and say, a foot in the door and so much more.
I love that.
Who is Dakota Johnson a Nepo baby?
Yeah, her mom is Melanie Griffith and her dad is Don Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Cool. 80s stars.
Cool.
The thing you can pretty much, what's so weird about this movie is that it's just the core competency that comes with money is missing.
Yeah.
Like, no matter the movie, the script, the director, anything like that, these movies are hiring guild craftspeople. These are like people, these aren't just like workmen, these aren't scabs, these are people that have been doing this craft, at least some people on set, for 40 years, Like, lighting should always be competent. There should never be a boom in frame. There should never be. And one of the things there shouldn't be is like motion sickness. And there's like 2 scenes that for some reason are shot like Succession. But there's these weird like little snap zooms for emphasis. And I'm like, was this shot in a different decade? Like, this is a different movie.
You're right that there's a core competency that comes with like actual Marvel movies where like they feel like they always just land at mid, and they're always like quippy and they're like funny and they've got something going, and then it's like mid to good, Mm-hmm. But these Sony, like inspired based on the novel Marvel by
Sony
Sapphire
Pictures,
or whatever, like Marvel movies.
The Sony Pictures Ultimate Universe, aka the Spum.
Yeah, it's just like they just don't have the cogs or whatever that kind of lift up the movie, and it just ends up being something totally strange.
It's uncanny because like they've made just the calculus is broken, where they've said, okay, here are 10 traits of those other very successful movies. They're transferable. It's like if I make a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner and I go like, okay, well, people really liked that, so for dinner I'm going to have yams with silverware in it. Some sauce and a plate crushed up.
No.
And I think what I'll do is I'll take a live turkey, and that will sit in the chair and eat the meal, and I'll cook myself. You
took all the right ingredients and you put them in all the wrong orders.
But you liked every single piece of those. You don't want a plate next time we have a meal?
I do want a plate, but you broke the plate and you put it in the food.
Right. And you all said that you really liked the turkey, so now you get to hang out with it in the chair.
No, but I want it to eat.
You always said that how much you guys love Spider-Man, so here's his friend. Here's an old woman.
I take it back.
In a wheelchair. It's so crazy.
But I cannot stress enough how much I would have rather seen a movie about, well, I mean, I enjoy what this was because it's so bad, but like, I think if you're going to do Madam Web, then make it about the woman in the wheelchair who can't see, who has like mystical powers.
She
or
is
do this story, but stylistically make it like a drama. Don't make it a superhero movie.
Yeah, because it's not a character story.
That's one of the pieces that they've like incorrectly taken is, well, people like fan service. But they specifically like fan service for things they know about. So like, we'll talk about like the web and we'll make references. Ezekiel Sims, anyone? And like, I like comics. I have no fucking idea who Ezekiel Sims is. And they're like, oh, hey, was that? Anybody catch the Spider Women there? And they're like, I mean, by costume, I guess, but we don't.
We don't know why they get power. Like Ezekiel Sims,
that doesn't even happen.
Ezekiel Sims is going to kill them because one day they're going to develop powers. And we do not see them develop even a modicum of power throughout the entire movie.
That's why I thought she was going to take them to Peru so that they could get powers and get trained and become what we know they're going to become.
But maybe they don't become, maybe they get their powers from that spider that's in Ezekiel Sims' house.
Oh, that's true. It's still there.
Yeah, because he's got the, what's it called? Not an aquarium, but
terrarium.
Oh, yeah.
Terrarium.
He's got that room-sized terrarium, so he can ominously have it crawl around his fingers and then go back in the case.
Also, eventually,
he doesn't wear shoes.
I think I understood that him with his spider powers meant that he didn't age very fast. But between the 70s in the jungle and 2003, he looks exactly the same.
A little gray.
And he looks comically gray in the flash forward.
Oh, full gray.
He looks like he got scared by a ghost.
He looks like Bellatrix Lestrange, or like one of those Harry Potter characters that's got like because and then the whole thing with him is that he's been cursed because he took the power that wasn't his, and he's been outrunning his destiny of being killed by the Spider Women.
Not the people in Peru, anything. Instead, he's outrunning his destiny of being killed by some people that meet and work together because he is trying to kill them.
Also, he gets so gray in the span of those girls growing up a little bit.
I mean, he's just white hair.
I feel like we should have seen a little bit of them developing powers or something, because they all play themselves in costume as the Spider Women. So it has to be soon.
Yeah.
People would see that movie. It just doesn't. The environment we're talking about right now is like, yeah, what if the movie is structured like a little more like X-Men First Class, where it ends with Xavier going into the wheelchair, but at the same time, that's like he still has his powers at the start, and it's kind of established, and it has a brief flashback, but then the story is about other characters mirroring his journey so that he can still also have an arc without being slow and annoying and being like, when I think everyone should freeze, everyone keeps freezing. Why does that keep happening to me?
This movie is a prequel, but is it based on a comic story?
No.
Because if it's not, then why would you do that? You like really have to trust, like there's got to be some sort of like 5D chess that like they messed up, where they're like, oh no, we need to have all these pieces in motion so that that something like a prequel that has never been committed to media before.
I mean, if you just
should exist.
Don't care about art and you just have no interest in art, and you're mainly, you're a major top tier executive and like your main hobby is flying on private jets to islands, then you're gonna okay the component pieces of something, especially this fucking thing's been in development for like a decade. If someone comes up to you and they say, remember Spider-Man? Yeah, kind of. He's the Superman. Yeah, sure, mate. We're making a movie where it's like Madam Web. Like, who is that? It's just in the comics. Okay, comics, Marvel comics, they do that. And she See the Future, Groundhog Day. Like, oh, I've seen that. I was 90 when that came out. And then like, oh, but it's also an origin of the Spider Women. And like, oh, cool. And these are all like true, but none of them work together. And it's about her. It's a prequel to and Spider-Man, his mom is pregnant. And they're like, oh, it's like an origin for that. I'm like, yeah, but why? Why is it? Why? I mean, the reason Spider-Man's on it is because they have to do it joint with Marvel, and Marvel's not going to make this movie. But there is like this the movie feels very scared of its most interesting pieces.
Yeah.
Can we Google like best Madam Web interview moments? Oh my God, they're so funny. Because I haven't seen any of them because I've been saving myself.
I have always really loved Marvel movies.
I mean, what percent of Marvel movies have you seen?
4%.
So you're a part of the Marvel universe.
She's not a part of the Marvel
She's not.
universe,
I mean,
though.
that's the trick. Well, something that I think people forget is like, these they don't watch movies.
Yeah.
These people are so rich. Why would they watch movies? They have like cocaine that's good for you.
Plus, maybe she watches different kinds of movies and this isn't her cup of tea.
Well, that's what I mean. There's like nobody, they have no obligation. Yeah. This is work.
Yeah.
Like if we went home and listened to the podcast.
Yeah.
Like they don't watch Marvel movies.
You listen to lots of podcasts. What percentage of podcasts have you listened to?
Oh, gee.
I wouldn't say 4. I'd say 0.4.
I know a lot of
0.4.
comedy writers who do not watch comedy television. They only watch like reality TV.
Yeah.
Because it's work.
Yeah. It's like I don't watch commentary YouTubers unless it's my friends.
And that's just to make fun of them.
And yeah, exactly.
So Madam Web sweep the Oscars. Can you imagine? I really like all of the Spider-Men. I grew up with Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. And I kind of want to bring back his emo Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland and Miles Morales.
And you name the 3 Spider-Man.
The man.
I love that actor.
Miles Morales, yeah.
And Tom Holland movies.
Spider-Man, here he comes.
Here he comes.
That's about as good as we did. Where's my Spider-Man? Where's my home?
Spider-Man, here he goes.
Wait, come back. Spider-Man, wait, come back.
Very funny.
It's number 1.
Yep.
Spider-Man, and he's back. And the other one, the last one is the Goblet of Spider-Man.
I'm not very sarcastic, no. I'm constantly trying to get my best friend arrested.
Dakota definitely read.
Dakota's never replied to me.
Never. It's been 2 years.
I love them.
Yeah.
And they annoy me.
Yeah.
These younger women.
Is that an earthquake? Okay, we just had an earthquake.
I believe you like being surprised, but do you ever look surprised? Surprise! Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what I expected.
I mean, I think if she takes this, like, it seems like she's taking this well. And also it's like, it's brought a genuine joy to me. And so now I'm like, unironically, like, I want to be on her side. You know what I mean?
I like Marvel products just fine now.
Yeah, me too.
But I enjoyed this more than any Marvel going experience since like maybe Infinity War.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot like Black Panther. Like, it's like thematically, you know?
Yeah.
It's a movie about family.
Ruth Conda forever, you know?
Web
Conda forever. Yeah, okay. That was fun. Oh, do you have any more Guess the Line for Madam Web?
Oh yeah, I have another one.
I'll play. I saw the movie.
I'll go through what I have because I after I know you'd seen it, I didn't make a game for each one, but just the most funny ones.
Yeah, just say some quotes.
But the first person I have on here is New York's getting crazier every day. Ezekiel Sims is Cassie's name. Did you say Web? I hope the spiders were worth it. Ceiling guy. Spider person?
Yep.
But I don't have a physiological disorder.
You did it.
You know, I think you gestured to it already, but the version of with great power that we actually do get from vague Peruvian man, when you take on the responsibility, great power will come. No, what? That's not how it works.
That's not the saying.
I would go so far as to say that's the exact opposite of how that works.
Yeah, that man was going for Yoda, and he did not land.
Yeah, dude, when you take on the responsibility, great power. No, because that is the responsibility.
Yeah, if you're
the power is the responsibility.
Power, then you have to be responsible. Yeah. That's the whole point.
With great power comes great responsibility. Yeah. Like, no, when you are responsible,
take responsibility, and then all of a sudden
for nothing.
Spider powers.
Yeah. You just go like, I feel like taking responsibility of something. Hey, I got powers, great. I'll take responsibility of that. I never really agreed with that quote. I think you just like
Whenever
with
I take
great
the
power.
trash out on Thursdays, I can see into the future.
I really feel like I'm about to be. I just mop the floors. I'm feeling responsible.
I have a feeling when this movie comes to like streaming, it's going to be huge. Like,
I'd like them to make the same mistake they made with Morbius and re-release it.
Right now, I just wish I could pull up all my favorite clips and I can't.
Yeah.
How do we forget this? The perfect line, the final line of the movie. The best part about the future is that it hasn't happened.
Yeah, what
does that mean?
What does that mean?
Oh, and use the web. That's a real thing they say.
Use the web.
In one of her fugue stages, like, use the web.
There's also that pigeon that she saved.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's a scary scene in the movie. It just slams
It's the scariest scene in the movie. It's momentarily a horror film.
The best
She does
thing
the
about
magic
it-
trick of like lifting up the window and then bring it back down and it's fixed.
I feel bad for Jacob because he's going to see it on Thursday and we just ruined the whole film.
Oh,
No, we did
there's
not.
So much
Jacob,
more,
I'm more excited.
You've got to
No,
see
Jacob,
this
next week. We want your
Yes.
your opinions.
Yeah.
Dude, I got there.
I have to go see it again.
I was just thinking, by the way, that the best thing about the future is that it hasn't happened.
wait. I just remembered. There's a scene. Oh yeah, at the hospital. At the hospital at the very end of the movie, the doctor comes in. The nurse comes in and goes, "Are you guys all family?" And then she goes, "Yes, they're all mine." And then she's like, "No further questions," and leaves.
Yeah. These are my girls.
Yeah,
I birthed
I birthed all these
concubines. And then she's like, "Okay, I'll leave you, these girls, and your flesh-colored eye covers to it then."
Oh my God, I forgot about
That was such a weird choice.
The eye covers are so funny because I just never seen those at a hospital before. But they had to do something like,
They didn't have a Cyclops visor ready.
Yeah.
She could-
wrap her with like a bandage.
yeah, that would have been cooler. But
then they gave her cool shades.
and then she gets her cool shades when they do the big reveal. But the big reveal of her is so funny, and it's such a funny fan service for like something that no one even knew about.
It would just be like if she just like turned. It'd be like at the end of the movie. She's like, "I got hepatitis." Like, okay, good, all right.
Is that a thing?
Just
Is that the lore?
Yeah,
There
it's
is
just a medical thing, I guess.
Why did
All
she
right.
go blind in the context of the movie?
She got hit with a firework right in the eye.
My God.
Yeah, I had the opposite problem. I was like, why did she get paralyzed?
Yeah,
Because
why
the
did-
firework.
See, that happened. I whispered to my friend, and I was like, that would break her back.
Well, falling in the water.
Yeah, she falls on her back
Yeah,
into the
makes
water.
Yeah, she falls in the back of the water, and then she is like having her like, oh, the all is lost moment, and then gets hit with a fucking firework in the face. And there's great comic timing in a lot of this.
It's canon for the comic book.
Gets smacked in the face
Smack in
with
the
it.
face with the firework.
Yeah,
They
the
gotta stop-
kingpin shot her in the face.
The big moral of the story is don't play with fireworks and steal a cab.
And use the web.
If you steal a cab, you get to keep it.
The cab really is the most developed character. I have the most affection for it.
Let me see what I texted Eddie and you after. Let me see what Eddie said.
Some stupid shit, probably.
He said,
a mustache.
I said, okay, Madam Web is fucking hysterical. Holy shit. He said, it's incredible. You did it, but I don't have the disease. And then, did she install the web window or was it the reason she got the apartment? I said, the wheelchair reveal, I'm in tears. Her New York City apartment had me Googling paramedic salaries.
The incredibly tall wheelchair, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like when you see people stack up chairs after like AA.
It's like the difference between like a longboard for like street riding and like a skateboard for like doing tricks.
Yeah.
I said in 2003, if you steal a taxi, you just get to keep it. He said, it's NYC. You would think somebody would come looking for their taxi that they bought and work out of every day.
Oh, they took the plates off. Can't do it.
Don't you think taking the plates off would make cops look at you more?
So much.
That's suspicious.
Unless he was looking for it. It would only hide it from the guy that owns the car.
This is awesome. I'm glad that other people are having this. Someone tweeted, Madam Web steals a taxi and then she just has that taxi for the rest of the movie. No one is looking for it, finders keepers. And then someone quote tweeted that with, this is my favorite part of Madam Web. She even flies out of the country at one point, and I thought, surely she will not still be driving this stolen taxi after this. But sure enough, she is still driving it after. She just parked it at the airport.
That's another part where I'm like, is this Peru part of reshoot? Is this something tweaked? Like, was she just supposed to be driving the taxi somewhere? And then it is like, we're going to put a Peru part in here because we were going to shoot her meeting a Peruvian man on the subway and it just didn't hit the same.
What if in the comic she drives a taxi?
Oh, yeah. That's her wheelchair. She has she has a yellow New York wheelchair. Peter, you've got to look at this web. Something on it. I got to fly, didn't I?
Bless you, Peter.
Huh?
You're about to sneeze.
And then she's like chucking pepper at him. Fucking sneeze now, please. Please. Blow it. You have hay fever? No? Shit. Well, you will at some point. So
Some unknown point in the future, you're gonna sneeze.
That's really close. Bless you when you. Some people say that when you cough. All right, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go swing around.
I know we just talked a lot about Madam Web, but that was not what we were supposed to talk about today.
This is the future, and the best thing about the future is that it hasn't happened.
It hasn't happened yet. And have you seen Who the Fuck Did I Marry?
I have seen people talking about it a lot.
Yes,
I've seen the name ReesaMTeesa because I thought it was really cool, but who did I see talk? Oh, I think maybe FD Signifier talked about it.
Okay.
I might have seen that a few weeks ago. Is it kind of a rage bait type thing?
I haven't seen it, and I was supposed to watch it before, but Jacob said it's better if I don't. So Jacob's going to present.
I think I might be
confusing
confusing it with something else that FD did, but
yeah. So this is the viral moment on TikTok right now that everyone's talking about, and it's interesting that it's like becoming so viral on TikTok because there are 50 parts to this story.
That's crazy.
Each of them is about 10 minutes.
Dude, that's a few Madam Webs. I can't wait to watch Madam Web.
More engagement than Madam Web.
And in this came out a week and a half ago, and this series of videos has gained over 34 million likes since
400 million views. That's crazy.
Views. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to summarize the first 2 or 3 videos, and then I'm going to drop you in a really good place for you guys to watch and react. So the first video, she tells us about how she met this guy on a dating app. She lives in Georgia.
Okay. Shout out.
Yeah, in this town in Georgia. And she met this guy on a dating app who had recently moved there. And he's this VP at a unnamed condiment factory.
Ooh.
And so they meet on this app, they talk a bit, and they decide to go on a date. They're going on a date to the Cheesecake Factory. Great. She loves the Cheesecake Factory.
We all do. Shout out.
Things are going really well. She's on the way to the date and she blows a tire. So she calls him and is like, hey, I don't know what to do. I blew my tire and I pulled off into this gas station. He meets her there and helps her change her tire.
Gentleman.
Which she's like, okay, that's cool. That's hot. And they
knows how to change a tire. I can do that.
Yeah, yeah. And so then they go to the Cheesecake Factory. They have a great date. They talk about what they want. And they both, they're dating. They're in their, I think, either late 30s or early 40s. They're dating to find someone to marry and have a family. They're on the same page.
Right.
And so then also on this date, she gets a bit of background about him. He just moved here for work from California.
James Hines.
Yeah, I was thinking, I was literally going to make the same joke.
But yeah, he just got this position with the condiment company in Georgia. And he moved from California where he had gotten divorced. He was previously married and had 2 stepchildren that he was close with. But he moved for work. And then, so that's the first date.
Okay.
They go on several more successful dates. They get to know each other really well.
Oh, this feels like a true crime setup, Dr. Death kind of thing. You know?
Right. Yeah. And this is in early 2020. So this is very early stages of the pandemic before lockdown happens.
Yeah.
So then lockdown happens and they are still like really hitting it off. And he's like, you know, I just moved here. I don't have like a lot of friends or anything yet here. And my family is all like out of state. And so lockdown happens and he's like, would you want to essentially like, what do you like, call it?
Like quarantine together. Yeah.
Would you want to quarantine together? Like, cause we've been on several dates now and like, we're hitting it off. Like, great.
And that, I mean, a lot of people were in that situation.
A lot of people with a dating bubble.
And like he had a small apartment and what he had told her is that his job is going to help him like with like relocation fees and going to help him buy a house essentially in Georgia. Okay. Cause he's like this VP and like getting paid all this money and they're going to help him buy a house eventually. But he just hasn't found one. So he's in a studio apartment right now. And so they decide, but she says that they can quarantine together at her place. And she works for like the state or something. So she like makes enough money for what she does, but she's still like living paycheck to paycheck, you know?
Right.
She's not, you know, a VP or whatever.
Yeah. Not James Hines over here.
Sourceless.
Yeah. And so they move in together for COVID and they're quarantining together. And some time passes and she brings up the question, like, are you still going to get a house? Like, are they still going to like, help you get a house? And if so, is it just going to be for you or are we going to move in together? Like things are getting serious. They quarantine together. Things can move fast when you're like spending a lot of time with people.
Definitely. Happened to a lot of us.
Yeah.
I won't name any names. I'll just say myself.
Let's just call it me.
So they decide that they want to live together and he's like, my approved like budget for a home is $700K. And so they find a real estate agent and
which I feel like is going to get you some stuff
in
Georgia.
Are they in Atlanta or?
No, it's a town that I hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, obviously you know better than me, but I assume that sounds pretty.
Yeah,
sizable.
I mean, especially outside of a major city, I feel like $700K goes a long way.
Yeah. She's pretty pumped about that, and she's like, "Is that like, you know, I couldn't afford a $700,000 mortgage. Is that something you're like comfortable with like the assistance from your job or whatever?"
Right.
And he's like, "We're more than good. Like,
okay,
it's chill. Like, don't worry about this at all."
Isn't he also just like? I mean, they keep referring to this like additional income, but he's like a VP, right? Like, is he already just making a lot of money?
Yeah, and so part of his backstory is that he says he played arena football, or is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's a thing.
Arena football back in California, and she didn't know anything about that. She's like, sure, fucking whatever. And he's like, apparently had a bunch of money saved up from that and working in tech back in California.
Sure.
And he's like, I have all like several different accounts. I have this like offshore account, whatever. But like we're good financially.
But he's temporarily embarrassed in that he doesn't have access to his cash, or is that not? Because like he still is supposed to be paid some money that he doesn't have. Or no, he didn't have the house because he wasn't ready to get it yet.
Yeah, he hadn't found a house, and supposedly whoever was supposed to be helping him with this assistance was like on maternity leave or something.
Okay.
Like, there was just a situation where he was just chilling in a studio apartment for a while, and then they quarantined together.
Okay.
But he's like, yeah, let's start looking for a house. They find a real estate agent, and this is like spring 2020, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So they find a real estate agent. They start looking for houses. They find a house that they like, and they're doing virtual tours because of COVID.
Right.
And they found a house that she really likes and is like well within their budget. I think it was like $400K. And so they were like, let's put in an offer. And so he says that he's going to put in an offer and, you know, is going to take care of it all. She doesn't have to worry about anything, you know. And so they put in the offer and he's like, yeah, they're like going to do an inspection, but the inspector's backed up. Like, but it's like happening. Things are happening.
My webcam's broken. I can't do a call.
Exactly.
Can't do a call.
And
can't
so that's where I'm going to bring you guys in, is kind of like they found a place that they liked, and they're trying to get it.
Okay.
Let me
but the inspectors, so they put the offer in.
They put the offer in and they're like
they're in escrow.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for inspections, but the inspectors, because it's a weird time, it's COVID, lockdown, and so I'm sure schedules are kind of wacky.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna bring you guys in on part 4.
Okay.
All right, part 4. So we go to Home Depot, we go to Lowe's. I'm choosing all these appliances. He's taking pictures of the SKU number. We have representatives helping us, and he basically explained to them, "Hey, we're buying a house. We should be closing sometime in June. Can we order this stuff now? Can I put a hold on it? Like, what can we do? Because we're not ready for delivery." I stood there as the Home Depot rep said, "We can hold it in our warehouse. Like, you can buy something and we can hold it." People do it all the time, especially with COVID. So I watched him pay. I want to say it was about it was either $350 or $500. I watched him pay a deposit on a whole new set of appliances for them, and they were going to hold it until we were ready for delivery. I watched this. So I was like, okay, good deal. Like, we got the appliances. Next, let's go to Rooms to Go and Ashley Furniture and find actual furniture. So we went all around Rooms to Go. We went to Ashley Furniture. We went to American Signature. And I saw all these things that I wanted. Again, he's taking pictures of it. He was like, I can go online and order it. I didn't think anything of it because, again, I just saw that we held the appliances. So I was like, okay, that's
because why would you? This all seems normal.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm really struggling with how much eye contact she's making with the camera. Please just drive.
I know.
Just focus on the road, ma'am. Madam Webb.
So April turns into May. May 2020 comes. This is where things start to get a little interesting. May comes, and obviously we had not done inspection. And I'm asking him all the time, what's the deal with the house? He was like, oh, because of COVID, they're trying to get someone to do the inspection. But the guy that they had, it was always something. The guy they had caught COVID, so they're going to have to get somebody else. And he's like 15 houses backed up, so it'll be a while. So at this point in May, I know
these all sound these sound like real practical problems that could have happened.
Just to what end? Is he just trying to like? All right, yeah, I guess we'll find out.
I guess that's why it's so many parts.
What is the grift? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In this point in May of 2020, I started recording audio diaries. I don't know why. It was something just made me just start recording my thoughts in an audio diary, and I still have them. And I would save them by the date, and I would just start talking about what's on my mind. So I was like, I knew there was something was nagging me, like, but I kept pushing it out of my mind. I was like, you saw, this is what I reminded myself. You saw him pay for the appliances. You know the house is under contract. You know that he told you that he's the one who put the house under contract. Why would, I remember saying to myself, why would he lie about that? This is so easy to verify. Why would he lie about that? Have you caught him in any other lie? And at the time, the answer was no. So I really was like, maybe you just aren't used to a guy who actually does what he's supposed to do. Like, I was questioning myself and then answering my own questions. So inspection didn't happen. Around mid-May, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh my God.
May 2020. When I found out I was pregnant, he was ecstatic and I was like, oh shit. The reason why I was oh shit is because number one, I'm plus size. Number two, because of my age, I felt like it was probably going to be a high risk pregnancy.
Medical care for black women in the US as well.
Yeah.
A heightened rate of complications. Well, they say complications, just bad care.
Yeah.
But goddamn, dude, I gotta say, this is not based on like fellas don't want to get tied down kind of thing. I'm always the idea of dating someone for a very small period of time, getting pregnant, and then the guy's like, yeah, I'm like, why?
Yeah.
What's going on
What's
there?
going on
like,
here?
if a guy, even if it was like, even the suggestion, if a guy came up to, like, if I was getting, not even married or whatever, like getting married, like kind of exploring dating, it's early, even with the intensity of COVID, whatever. If he was like, hey, do you want to have a baby? Like, should we start trying? I'd be like, this is weird that you even want to do that this early.
Especially when they hashtag it pathological liar.
Yeah, she should have known from that.
Yeah. She should have known from her hashtag. She should have Madam Webbed into her future TikTok series.
Use the tags.
And saw the hashtag.
Madam Tag.
And I wasn't married. And that nagged. I cannot tell y'all how much it nagged me. There was a lot of internal struggle in between. My family didn't even know that he had moved in at this point. I told them, that I was pregnant, went to the doctor, everything looked good. But again, because it was COVID, he couldn't go in with me into the actual room. So, doing any sort of ultrasound, doing the blood test, because my HCG levels were really high. So the doctor was like, hey, it might be twins. We don't know yet. You're still kind of early, along.
Gotta love jazz doctors. Hey, who knows? Could be an alien.
Oh,
who's to say? What's up? I was like a guy in there. Huh.
That's crazy.
Whoa, how'd you do that?
They gave me a due date. Due date was January 26th of 2021. May, found out I was pregnant. So there was now more of a push into, we got to get a house. We got to get the fuck up out of here. I'm not having a baby in Riverdale. Okay? Nothing against Riverdale. But I ain't having a baby in Riverdale. So we need to find out what's going on with this house. And so he was on top of it. He had an answer for everything. He was like, I'm gonna call and find out what's going on, blah, blah, blah. He then magically told me about a week later, oh, they're going to do inspection on the house like in 2 days. So I was just like, okay.
You gotta ask to see the house. You gotta ask
to see the house.
So
at this point, she hasn't seen the house?
Only through.
Oh, right, only through the virtual.
Just sit me in the car. Let me look at it.
Because people are currently living there until they sell it. And so it was like they couldn't go in.
I'll do it from the car. Just let me look at it from the car. Have them come out and wave.
Do they exist?
This is part of this is like a little bit of cope. It's like a little bit of, is this too good to be true? I just won't think about it. I'll just if somebody is that, especially that early in a relationship, is just like, oh yeah, I have another business trip. I'm like going out of town again. What's the business trip? The trip. I'm like, oh, you're cheating on me.
But the thing is, it was such a crazy time that like, I think there's a bit of a fog of war sort of cast on everything because it sounds like she was suspicious. She was starting these like audio diaries, but she didn't have a tangible reason to distrust him at this point. So she's just like kind of putting her ducks in a row, getting her thoughts straight, like working through, like clearly she's conflicted, but she's like working through it on her audios and stuff, which I think is a very mature way of like sort of
good to be
handling that, like self-consulting.
Sounds like she wasn't communicating with people outside of it though, which is
right. Wasn't
she told the family she's pregnant, but still not that she's living with him or that he moved in.
Yeah, because her family and herself are like very religious, and so she had a lot of like shame, I think, around that.
Oh man,
that also makes sense as to why you shouldn't even mention like potentially terminating the pregnancy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she's very religious, and so is her family, and so I think she was okay with the idea of living with him because of COVID.
Right.
But it was something that was kind of like in the back of her head, like, oh, this is like not a good thing. Like,
man, just an impossible situation.
Yeah.
And she's not trusting her intuition, which is totally understandable in this crazy time, you know, in early COVID days. And
you don't want
also,
to fuck up a good situation, especially, I don't mean in a cynical way, like a healthy, potentially positive relationship when you're getting housing and
yeah, so she's like, is my intuition just me being scared?
Yeah.
You know, like I get it.
Also, like, she's got this dude who's telling her everything she wants to hear, and she doesn't have a tangible reason to doubt. So it's like,
yeah,
at the best of times wouldn't, and now,
yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, I really don't want to fuck this up now. Like right now, we need each other, you know.
I guess they did an inspection. He showed me an inspection report. The only thing that they said that the roof had just recently been replaced, which I remember he was very happy about. And the issues that there were for the house were minor. It was not a bad, because we did have a discussion about it. He was like, it's nothing that we can't handle. Then he said that we were set to close the end of May. We were set to close the end of May. He told me it was going to be a virtual closing. You're probably like, what the hell is a virtual closing?
I was about to ask.
He's saying because of COVID, people are not closing in the office. They're doing a virtual closing where
we're actually going to be living in the house digitally. We're going to be
They're
zooming
going to put
in.
telepresence robots inside the house.
Let's go to bed.
Need
Plug
to
me in.
electronically sign the paperwork. This is what he's telling me.
I wonder if that's even a thing that, because like I think at the end of the day, you still do need like a notary. And I don't know if there's like a digital way to like notarize those types of documents.
Yeah, I feel like so many of I mean, you know, it's different in different regions, and I was out of the country at the time, out of the US. But like, this is still so early in the pandemic that I feel like a lot of the rules were getting fudged. A lot of stuff was kind of getting thrown around.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like real estate would be pretty low on the list of things to regulate.
Yeah.
I think it'd be like, hey, wear a mask. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it would, I don't know, be a little more on the side of like, oh, well, we have to close, so Zoom. There is that. It's so like shit just wasn't as regular. Oh, this is yours. My bad.
I could also see realtors being so desperate to get a sale because no one's buying or moving.
Right.
That they're just like, yeah, let's just do it, you know?
Yeah, because even apartments were like, people were getting like crazy deals on rent just to like get them to occupy the space. So I know a lot of people who ended up moving just because it was like financially advantageous to like take the risk during lockdown.
So he was like, we're set to close like just before Memorial Day. And so for some reason, again, there's still that nagging part. For some reason, I didn't start packing. Anyone that knows me will tell you I hate moving. I've done it enough in my life. I hate moving. But I did not start packing up that house at all. I was just like, you know, I'm pregnant. My body was changing so fast that it was like I can barely keep my eyes open half the day. And so,
That's real.
No, I didn't start packing. And I remember I did record, again, I was recording audio diaries just about every day. When something didn't sit right, I would verbally record it in the audio diary because I was like, I don't know what it is, but there's something. That was the theme of our relationship. I don't know what it is, but I know there's something. And so I remember talking to myself in my little prayer closet because that's where I would do my recordings. And I remember
good acoustics.
Thinking,
so God can hear it.
what if we don't get this house? Like, what if we don't what if he's lying? But again, there goes that thought process of, why would he lie about this? Like, who makes up that they're buying a house when in fact they're not? And then he's showing you all this paperwork. Like, come on. You can't be that jaded that you don't even believe what's in front of you. All right? So now we're going to go into part 5.
Incredible self-awareness for the 10-minute timer.
Yeah, good goal.
Yeah.
Good time boxing.
I feel like she's very good at putting me on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Like, when's the shoe gonna drop?
Right. And there was a few shoes that dropped in that one, like the pregnancy reveal.
I will say this is like prime girl content because it's very hangout.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, there's no pomp and circumstance about like delivery and like fucking, let's go. Here's the facts of the matter. First of all, it's like that guy that was moving the camera close to his face too much when we watched in the last episode where he's like, there was a woman who was getting divorced and she ate all the children. And like, this is much more just like, yeah, I'll listen to 19 hours of a true crime documentary kind of consumption.
The funny thing is we watched like 10 minutes of her like driving, commuting somewhere or whatever. And people are like, when is she going to get to her destination? This commute is insane, girl. And I'm like, it's only been, I guess, wait, how were all of these parts recorded in the same chunk?
No.
When's the outfit change?
There's usually like 5 to 8 of them, 8 like chunks, and it's like she recorded them over like several days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of broken up into like chapters, I guess.
Okay, part 5. Who the fuck did I marry? So I'm questioning all this stuff in my head out loud on my audio diaries, and then once again I'm like, but look at what he's giving you. Like, he's paying. It wasn't a question about money. It was just a question of, are we really about to move into this house? And keep in mind, he's paying all the household bills. He still is. So we were supposed to close before Memorial Day. We didn't. There was an excuse. There was always an excuse with him. Always an excuse. And I didn't know enough about the process to question stuff because I really wasn't involved the way I should have been. And
that's understandable because like buying a house is like so many, like if you haven't gone through that before, it's like you could say that, oh yeah, there's the step where we all do like jumping jacks in our swimsuits. And then we sign the contract.
And they're not married and they don't have a shared bank account. Like what is... It's almost like she has the visibility of like a friend. Like, what, they've known each other a few months or something at this point? What, 6 months or something?
Yeah.
It would be like, I've, dated people longer than that and they don't know my SSN.
Right.
Like I don't know. Yeah, if Katie was going through with buying a house and she was like, yeah, there's my work is supplementing it or something like that, I'd be like, okay, well, I guess I believe you by default. That seems like a very odd thing that's happening. But then at no point am I going to go like, I'm going to log into Wells Fargo and check her account. And like, I don't know. And also what's going to happen? Like if you push back on it, it goes like, you got me.
No.
You caught me.
Yeah. Also, just you don't encounter a lot of pathological liars in your day-to-day life, so you're not planning for like the worst case scenario where someone has created a false identity.
Yeah, and if you ever do meet one, most pathological liars I've ever met are just really bad at it because it's the pathology and desire to lie and feel perceived like overtakes. They're not smart. They're not necessarily smart people. So a lot of like compulsive liars will lie and then conflict their own lie to the same person.
Right.
And like if this guy just seems to have his ducks in a row.
Right. That's like what my dad told me when he worked at Nintendo. He was saying that he was telling me lots of stories about the new Pokemon games that are coming out, but I can't tell you right now because it's like private.
I can imagine my dad. He actually runs Heinz, but only the mayonnaise division because he's white.
He runs they did the ketchup mayonnaise combo that one time.
That's
Do you
us,
remember
dude.
that?
Mayo chup.
Ugh.
Dude, that's you and me. We're a blend.
Do they call it mayo chup?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Is that the tattoo Ed Sheeran has?
There's also Cranch.
Cranch is funny.
Is that Crayon Ranch?
There is I think we talked about it last time. Seemingly Ranch.
Seemingly Ranch, right. So funny.
What's Cranch?
Ketchup Ranch.
Oh.
Cranch.
You're disappointed.
Huh.
Cranch is such a funny sound.
I would be disappointed to get that. You know, like sometimes if you go to like, you guys been to Big Chicken, and it's like clearly, I mean, poor Shaq, he got sniped on Shaq for a fast food restaurant. Big Chicken, Shaq's chicken brand, mid.
I feel like it used to be better.
They just have that like, what is it? They have like some Shaq sauce.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I'm not going to know what this is until I get it.
Yeah, or Mac sauce even, like at McDonald's or something like that.
And you're like, oh, okay. Good. I guess you could have called this anything you want. And they call it like Cranch. And then I order it. I'm like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's like if every sauce was a portmanteau of its ingredients.
Vina salt.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fries. Sorry, chips.
Patissa oil fried.
What is this? I don't want this.
It's just French fries.
Oh, burger blues?
Should have been. And it was giving me a lot of anxiety. So I'm pregnant with a lot of anxiety.
That sucks.
And if I'm gonna be 100% honest with y'all.
Oh, sorry. I guess one thing to acknowledge is like, if you weren't already going to doubt yourself from the smoke screen of COVID obscuring everything and this new relationship and stress, then like a lot of people doubt themselves, and by medical professionals more often than not are told to doubt themselves when they are pregnant.
Right.
Like your self-esteem is reduced, your trust, you're experiencing stuff I would guess like is like so alien, like feelings you've never felt that I guess you could think your paranoia is like, it's my hormones or something. And you're probably being told it. Like, I'm sure if she said it, probably go like, are you sure? It could be crazy woman stuff.
Yeah, definitely not something I can speak to, but
I'll give it a swing.
Around June 5th, I looked at the house again on Realtor.com. I don't know what made me do it other than...
I don't know why you didn't before.
Sound super spiritual. I know that people are like, you know, you may or may not believe in God, but I'm telling you, I believe with all my heart, probably the Holy Spirit was like, look at that house on Realtor.com. So I looked at the house on Realtor.com.
Dude, that was the Holy Spirit being like, woman, you've got to do it. Get up, fucking move on. He's like, well, I've got all these suspicions and I think it might be this and it hasn't closed yet and it's been 6 months. And the Holy Spirit's like, okay, let's get it going.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just Google's for her.
It's right. In Madam Web, there was the fortune cookie moment.
Oh god, yeah, dude. What was it supposed to say?
I don't know.
I unironically thought just by the size of the final word that it was supposed to say, you are web.
Oh, I thought it said you will die.
Oh, maybe you will web.
But this one said visit realtor.com.
It was just an ad for Realtor.
Yeah.
What do you think it means?
Sponsored fortune cookies have to stop.
Pepsi, drink Pepsi.
Drink Pepsi.
This was around June 5th. It showed that the house was off the market. And I remember being like, okay, wait, what does that mean? What does that mean? Because ex-husband is telling me we're about to close on the house. We're about to close. It's our house.
Because the house would go off the market. Like it could go off the market while like things are in like while sort of contracts are being exchanged and stuff. So you would have to look at, like, if you go on Zillow and stuff, you can look at the timeline of like the history of the house changing ownership. And
because they don't want to market and tour the house after the inspection ended in escrow.
Exactly, yeah.
Fees submitted and stuff.
We got furniture.
Maybe should have checked it earlier.
He's also telling me that he's been in contact with the realtor, his friend, who was telling him, you know, this is what was happening next. Here's what's...
I don't like that the realtor's his friend.
Oh, there was part of a story that I missed earlier, kind of brazed over, is that when they found this house, the realtor that they had brought on or hired or whatever, like things were like not happening for a while, and she was just like curious about it. So she called the realtor herself, And the realtor was like, well, no, I like haven't heard from him in a while. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Whoa.
And then
I thought you were going to say she heard the phone ring in his bedroom.
Yeah. Well, no, it was a real realtor that they were working with. And then so she brought it up to him.
A real realtor.
Yeah. Later that day, she brought it up to him and she was like, I called the realtor, and he's like,
that guy's been dead for 20 years.
From you. And he got mad that he called her. He's like, let me handle it because I'm talking to my friend who's a realtor, and I was going to hire him so that he could get the bonus or the cut of the sale.
Yeah.
No, I have another girlfriend in Europe. You're thinking of my girlfriend in Canada.
Yeah. He's like, just let me handle all of this. Like,
it's almost admirable what true gaslighters tend to. It's sometimes I just think to myself, like, why am I just even trying to do? I just lie. I should just take over the world by lying. Because half the time stories like this, I've listened to one or two like Wondery podcasts, and the story is ticking along at a slightly predictable pace, and some suspicious behavior, and his ex-wife wasn't possible to get in contact with, and then she found the corpse which he signed, and then with a slip of his DNA, and then she asked him about it, and he said, nah. And it worked. Like, it's what do you mean? Like, no, it is my friend. I'm like, no, well, no, let me talk to him as well then. Yeah. Do you own him? Is he you in a Groucho mask? Like Groucho March?
A Groucho mask march? The Groucho March of masks?
So the guy that we initially worked with apparently is completely out of the picture. But again, I was not heavily involved. So I'm just like, let me look at the house. I see it's off market. What the fuck does off market mean? Like, now I'm really freaking out. So it shows the name of the real estate agent for the seller. I don't remember her name. I called her and I said, I said, my husband and I, even though I wasn't married, my husband and I were looking at this house at 123 Main Street, and we really wanted to tour it, but now I'm showing it's off market. Is it not available? Or, I pulled that card, and she was like, oh, no, ma'am. The home closed yesterday. It closed June 4th. Again, there are certain dates I just remember. And I said, oh, it closed June 4th?
So it's not like it was a house that was never on the market. It was on the market during that time.
It's one of those pathological crumbs,
Yeah, so I'm like, okay.
They were working with a very real, like, real estate agent. It was a very real house for sale that they were, like, looking at.
Yeah.
Didn't some shit like this happen to Drew?
Really? And she said, yes, ma'am. She was like, my sellers sold the house. And I was like, oh, man, okay. Well, I said, my husband and I really wanted, we love the pictures of it. And we're getting ready to start a family. So I would have loved to have been able to, have the opportunity to see it. I asked her something. I don't remember the specific question I asked her. And I know why I asked the question, because I was anticipating that my boyfriend at the time was going to have some sort of excuse. So I asked her something about the buyers. And I remember, and somehow, again, forgive me, I don't remember the question I asked her. But the answer was that it was an older white couple. So cool. I get off the phone with her. I record an audio diary, and in the audio diary, I specifically say, okay, there is no house. He's going to have to get out of this lie somehow. Because now I realize, at the very least, he was lying about him being the one who was under contract. I knew enough about that. So I was like, what, how was he going to get out of this? Again, I've listened to the audio diary in 2024. I literally said in that audio diary, how is he going to get out of this lie?
Do you think that the people driving on the highway with her know that history is occurring in the car next to them?
You think a license plate free cab whipping past her on its way to Peru is
3 teenage girls in the back, future Spider Women, but currently no signs of power whatsoever.
Future in the sequel that will never happen?
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if, like, honestly, she could have used the web. She's kind of developing something of a future.
Yeah, I know her name's ReesaMTeesa, but I'm thinking she should be some sort of madam.
How many total videos did you say there were?
50.
So
that's awesome.
I cannot imagine how this gets sustained. Do you know what I mean? Like, because this is so explicitly, obviously a lie.
Right. What's his cover going to be?
He's no more than 2 more videos away from it being like very, very clear. And
this is like a Baldur's Gate story.
He like keeps digging himself into these like grander and grander lies. And he has like people like, he's just so good at lying, and he's like has essentially this woman who like, you know, placed her faith in him and trust in him, and like is like obviously like taking advantage of that, and he just like goes so much further with it. It's crazy.
It's interesting because at this point we know they get married eventually.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to like ascribe any kind of blame whatsoever to her, but there is this like almost uncanny alien like, oh my God, run. No, I know COVID. I know whatever. Kick him out. Like, it's already at this point of, I know pregnant. I follow all of this, but we're already past the point of safety almost. I'm like approaching, this is potentially a dangerous
But this is like but this is how the manipulation works, right? Because like we're hearing her having processed all of this, but like when she's in the thick of it, I'm sure that there's like a lot of manipulation that goes by. And she's also in a situation where she isn't able to confide fully in the people around her.
She's being like very consciously obtuse with the...
because it's like I don't know if that's all premeditated, but like if you know that you're dating somebody who's got, you know, this religious background and they might be risking potentially ostracizing themselves from their family and close ones or loved ones if they get deeper in this relationship, like, God forbid, like you get pregnant. Now she's like out on a limb with like very limited people that she can like trust and talk to in her community. And I feel like that's how manipulators work.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. That's how you get into a rhythm, and then you kind of redefine what your life.
Yeah, it's like actual gaslighting, not like the way that we use it currently.
Not just
you've like created you've created a reality,
and you've created like a loop in your life, like a rhythm, like this. The way her life now works, the way they, you know, she goes to work, she gets home at this time, he's doing this. I cook meals on Mondays, you cook them on Tuesdays. Hey, this is what we do. This is what we watch when we relax. This is our plans that we make for the future. Can you drive? I'm not feeling a little queasy today. All of that is like, it's like people that get married in high school and have like a gambler's fallacy. Like, I can't break up now. I've been together 10 years. Well, I'm going to waste those 10 years. And that's by design. I mean, that's why you hook them in with something as appealing or as reliable as buying a house. And then by the time it's revealed that you can't buy the house, you've already...
Yeah.
And I was trying to think of ways on how he's going to do it. And something said to me, because I say it on the audio diary, I said, he's going to say it's a bad deal. And he's going to say he wants to pull out.
Oh.
Y'all keep in mind, I am pregnant. So
I guess he wasn't born
I
out.
had a decision to make. As ugly as this decision was, I made the decision, you're about to have a baby with this man. He's paying all the household bills. Let him get out of the lie. And that's what I did. I purposely made the decision that I knew he was going to come back, and I knew he was going to give me some bullshit on why he couldn't buy the house, because he didn't know that I knew that house is already sold.
I was curious about the financial element.
The house is already sold.
There was a tiny little part of me where I was going to be like, is he paying? Because if he's lying about this, does not only is he a VP, but does he make any money at all? Like, what's the lie here? But if he's covering all the household bills, then at least either there's some income or he stole some money at some point.
She saw him buy those appliances.
I mean, with that clarifying point, that pretty much answers all of our questions in one way, which is like, hey, financial dependence is the number one controlling tool of any relationship, regardless of type. You live with a sibling and it be like the controlling factor you have over somebody. It's like, that's the thing. You can just have a roommate that is, hey, you don't want to test the waters because if they move out and you can't find a sublease in time, you're screwed. Or, it's a fine, it's a sticky wicket.
Because most women in their right mind would have been like, I'm out. And I didn't. So, sure enough, he came home. He didn't really say anything that day. The next day I asked him about the house. And he said, my friend, the realtor, he was like, I'm talking to him because something's going on with the interest rate. And when he said that, I
see. Wait. It's the computer. The doors are all up there wrong.
Also, dude, it's 2020. Interest rates are like at an all-time low.
Yeah, this is incredible time.
Yeah,
maybe that's what he means. It's too low.
Yeah, brother, you got to get in there.
It's too good a time.
It's like 3% or less.
Felt so much relief because I knew that I had been prepared for he's going to give you some bullshit. So when he said there's something with the interest rate, I said, you know what? This is literally what I said, y'all. If the interest rate isn't good, then we shouldn't move there. We should probably let this house go. We should cancel whatever furniture we ordered or, appliances. And let's just look for another house. I said, I would like to be moved before the end of the year. I said, I really don't want to be 9 months pregnant moving into a house. I would like to be done with this before then. And the way I said it was so calm. And he was like, okay. He was like, I'm going to call the friend, the realtor, and tell him I'm backing out of the house. And I'm going to see if I can get my earnest money back. And I remember looking at him. I was standing in the kitchen.
So she planted a trap because she knew that the house was already off the market and sold to this older white family. So she was creating a situation where he has to like sort of make up a new lie.
And she's got that the metadata on that audio recording. It's kind of like sending an email to yourself with a movie idea.
Yeah.
Speaking of, this is getting optioned within the month.
Yeah, please let her make a big bag off of this.
This is at the very least, like, Wandery's going to option it for us.
Yeah. I watched a short interview of her where she said that she only, at the end of last week, had been able to join the creator fund, but then they banned her from the creator fund for re-uploading videos.
That's crazy.
So she's not making anything off of it.
That pisses me off. That's such bullshit.
Yeah.
For expediency's sake, can you spoil some stuff for us? Does she have the baby?
So she does not have the baby. There's a complication with her pregnancy because of health stuff. And there's some like shitty things that happen like during that process where he's like not there for her and which like really upsets her, obviously.
Yeah.
There are several more houses that he's trying to buy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, I assume at that whatever point that happens, this loop is continuing, right? Like,
yeah.
Always
I found
more.
This house.
He claims that he's gonna get a company car. So they go and shop around for a bunch of like Land Rovers. He claims that he's going to buy her a new BMW.
It's all on credit.
So they shop around, but they never get the cars.
Yeah.
There's always reasons why they can't get
How many
cars.
times does he think that he can like sort of promise something and then not be able to deliver? Like is the conclusion is that he's the most unlucky man alive.
I had somebody once explain to me I think it was they were like a mental health counselor. They weren't specifically a psychiatrist, but they worked with a lot of people that were self-awarely, partly some people with borderline, But this was also like 15 years ago or something, and the language I think was still, in the UK at least, was still like commonly like narcissism. That was like often the terminology used, and pathological lying was like a subset or symptom of that. And the way that somebody once described it to me in front of the family is that they said it was like literally like an addiction, where they are imbibing this feeling of lying, of status, of the power they get out of it. And it just, the desperation to have it, the desire for it, like supersedes even 1 hour of pre-planning. Like, I want my fix now. I want to say I'm working on a new house. I want to, whatever their motivation is, say it looks, to look impressive, let's just say, to feel powerful. I want that feeling today, end of day, Wednesday. And on Friday doesn't even exist. I get it today, I feel good till tomorrow morning. I get it again, good till the next morning. And like that, I mean, I guess if that's the case, then yeah, because I feel like anybody else, I'd just be worried. If for some reason I had to make all these elaborate lies, I would be awake every single night. Like, did I conflict with the different one I told? When's this all going to explode? But if you just, I don't know, if it makes you feel really good, I guess.
She's got her Cash App here. I hope, I think we can afford to send her a little bit, especially for like watching these videos on the podcast. But I also, if anyone wants to help her out, especially if she's not getting like, if she's not getting Creator Fund, not even the Creator Fund doesn't even pay you a good rate.
What are they talking about with re-upload? I mean, presumably, why would? I mean, maybe she did. Do we know why she would have
sort
to?
Of policy
they have some, because they don't want you to juice the views of popular TikToks.
Why? Do we know why she would have to do that? Like,
she might have had a video taken down or something. Yeah. Like, for example,
there are actually a couple, because part 3 isn't even on here anymore. I can find it.
And so if she re-uploads something because TikTok has a fucking minefield of just various things that you could accidentally trip over.
Yeah.
Then you might re-upload something with that missing thing, much like we do on YouTube when something gets flagged, but TikTok doesn't have such a system.
I mean, they did have that little warning at the bottom of all of those
for the
clips.
driving ones. Yeah.
And maybe if there was like a more egregious moment where she looks at it for too long, or she took a sharp turn.
Yeah, literally. Like,
really, the rest of it is just her explaining all of these elaborate lies that he got into, and she kind of like is like, in hindsight, like, I believe that he just kind of like got off on like promising her things that she could never have, and seeing her excitement, and then just like that's so like
seeing her momentary excitement only to disappoint her countless like time and time again.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, I mean, we've kind of joked about it, but it is my dad works in Nintendo. It is like, I want to feel good during this recess, and my brain is not developed to the point where I understand that like something worse will happen later. It's like that experiment where they leave a candy on the table with a kid, and they're like, we're going to leave the room for 10 minutes. If you don't eat it, you get 2. It's like, I can't. A minute is a year. Like,
right.
Will I even be alive in a minute? Her Cash App is, for audio listeners, $, $sign.
Just because that's how Cash App works.
Oh, yeah. So $sign ReesaMTeesa.
ReesaMTeesa. I'm sending her stuff right now.
Hopefully, like a subsect of NPR options a project with them, and then I don't know, Lifetime puts a project together and she gets the rides.
Do you remember there was like a viral Twitter thread about these strippers who drove to Florida, and it's this one woman being like, I'm telling my story about how my friend and coworker was like, let's drive to Florida and we'll make a bunch of money and then drive back. And then all this crazy stuff happened.
Then that got turned into a movie.
And it got turned into a movie.
Called Zola, I think.
Yeah, I saw it. It's good.
And it's like really interesting because, they were able to verify like this is actually her story, and we can license it from her.
Yeah.
So I just feel like these like very interesting stories that are getting put on social media, you know, it's fodder for other forms of.
Yeah. Just, I hope the original creators get paid and don't just get sort of the short end of the stick.
And that, yeah, I mean, the shitty thing is that even if she, and I do think this is like, someone is reaching out. There's absolutely no way. Everything I know about, I know the type of voice that people in partnerships are making when they get excited about this shit. Kind of predatory taste of their mouth.
Salivating.
There is no way no one's reaching out. My fear would be that without any kind of representation, I don't think she will know what she should get. Like because they're gonna say like, we'll give you $50,000 for your story,
right?
And then, you know,
and then just not having, the industry is so opaque, you don't know what like she could negotiate for.
Right.
It's the same in like a lot of creator spaces where you have like very basic like CPM rules of thumb in terms of what you should earn for like a brand deal, but there hasn't been like a sort of transparency project in a long time trying to like sort of help out up and coming creators, because like I get a lot of, you know, smaller creators who like reach out to me, or I've been, you know, lucky to have been reached out to by a number of smaller creators who have since become larger creators who I've been able to like sort of give as much advice and stuff as I can. But there's no way of like turning that into a system.
And a lot of the time,
and there's a lot of time that would go into that.
If a lot of the time the questions are like, man, have very good management. Well, a lot of time with partnership stuff, especially on like because it should be a seller's market, right? Like you are the billboard. They want to find you. You're the Times Square screen. But
so as long as there is a market for advertising,
but people looking for projects like this and some weird, like deliberately obscure corporation, the reason they keep them obscure is so that they seem like this big, scary, and like genius, intimidating monolith, and they know what's right for you. $50,000 is exactly the money I should take because that's what they said. I mean, what am I going to do? Say more than that? Which somebody that's like a experienced manager, agent, or partnerships person is going to be able to go, yeah, because I know the Dr. Death lady. She got a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah. Also, I think it's really hard. You know, you have like one viral thing. It's really hard to transition that into an ongoing account where you're producing new content that people want to watch.
Right.
Like I think most people, it's like they have one viral thing and then they're like, what? I can't do this again. That was a true story.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, how do I transition this to something else I do want to do?
And I don't know what the legality is of like, I'm pretty sure like NPR can just do an investigatory season of podcast, make $1 billion off it, and then she doesn't have to be involved at all.
NPR doesn't really make any money.
Oh, what the fuck am I thinking of? Wondery, not NPR.
Yeah.
Like they can just stack it with ads and put out a season of a show, a la Serial, make a bag, cost $10,000 to make the show. And it doesn't have, it's reporting, so it's not something she has to be involved in.
Right. That's tricky. Yeah. So I'm hoping she sees her bag.
But yeah, Cash App Red in Descripy too. In the doobly-doo.
In the doobly-doo.
Didn't you remember that when it used to be like to the side or something?
It's like always like it was over here, down here, up here.
We're so young.
All right, are we this is a long episode.
Yeah.
True. I know we've got like a bonus in there too, but it's long. That is all for today. Just kidding. We're going to head over to
idiots.
We're going to head on over to patreon.com/sadboys and have our Patreon exclusive podcast, Sad Boyz Nightz, where we're going to talk about finishing Baldur's Gate, and there's going to be a lot of spoilers.
And if you want to head on over there, pay for $5. My brain's falling apart.
Brain's falling apart.
It's the web. $5 a month will get you
everything.
God knows how many episodes of Sad Boyz Nightz at this point.
There's a lot.
Too many.
Oh, I can confirm for you right now that it's 52.
52. That's as many.
A year's worth.
That's one for every week.
Okay, yeah. 52 additional episodes of Sad Boyz. Just over a year.
Yeah, and you can just, get it and quit it if you want. Like no pressure.
That's okay. Go for it. Go on, eat them up.
It's all just make sure you're only using your discretionary entertainment spending. This is not a handout. This is an exchange of value.
Eat up the pod. Bounce if you gotta.
All right. We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase.
We love you.
And we're sorry. Just finished Baldur's Gate.
No, oh my God, really?
Yeah, I finished it on Tactician 6-1, by the way.
No big deal.
No big deal. Honor mode next. No. But yeah, I just finished it, and it was fun. I think my playthrough was like 110 hours, which, you know, I felt like I saw most of the stuff I wanted to see.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it. Girl, too rich for me.